fabric from the land of the five rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We back, man. We are back.
Oh, you didn't know?
50-50.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Like you heard the message, man. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We are going live on both our channels. My guy Severe, obviously myself, PharoahNFL, man. Appreciate y'all coming through. Sure. We have a lot to talk about today, man. A whole lot to talk about.
It's actually a slow news day today, man. It's not a lot in the news today. I was trying to find some stuff for the show, man. It's been a struggle. It's been a real struggle, man. Not a lot.
I was actually talking about the game. You know what I mean? There's a lot to talk about the game. It was a nice win on Sunday. Let's start off there, man. It was a great win by the Raiders. But, you know, we're just joking around, man. At the end of the day, like, I know y'all heard about the Davante news. Davante has formally requested a trade, and we're going to get into that, man. We're going to get into the entire timeline of you know, Davante requesting a trade because it didn't just happen over a couple of days. This was brewing. Oh man, according to reports as recent as far back as last season. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into all of that, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Like I said, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We see everybody pulling up. The king of mods is in the building, man. Oh man, my bad. Let me bring him down here. All right, Daniel Kim, man, another jersey that gets hung up. I never thought it would be there this soon under these types of circumstances. I totally understand, but come on, man. You've been a Raider fan long enough, man. The NFL stands, what does it stand for? Not for long at the end of the day. It is what it is. Players come and go. There's only like a couple of players that kind of transcend that, you know. I feel like Max seems like he's going to be the guy that truly transcends that, sends that, like he's the face of the, you know, of the Raiders right now, but you never know. You never know what could happen. I mean, I think Davante, you just got to think about how his whole career started with the Raiders. He wasn't drafted by the Raiders. The Raiders traded for him. He played with an all-time great quarterback, and he played with a whole lot of quarterbacks here. You know what I mean? And y'all know the quarterbacks that came and played with the Raiders the last couple seasons. They weren't good at all. But we'll get into that in a second, man. We got Chill Ray in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. He says DA is a diva and needs to be traded. Regardless, in my opinion, AP should have kept the business decisions in-house, and the IG social media is an embarrassing headline. This whole situation is a mess. Hey, man, that's one way to look at it. That's definitely one way to look at it. I mean, I guess you can, you know, AP is the leader of the Raiders. You know, he's one of the faces of the franchise. So I'm gonna give you that. I give you that, man. But you know, I'm not really gonna focus on DA today. I mean, on AP today, man. I think the focus right now should be on the player that requested a trade. The player that doesn't want to be a Raider. AP wants to be a Raider.
Exactly.
I don't know if y'all noticed that. AP wants to be a Raider. DA does not want to be a Raider. And he's been we'll get into it in a second, man. We got everybody pulling up. Yaya Hatamaki says, salute, nation. Appreciate you coming through, Yaya, man.
Ciao, Tay. Yeah, ciao indeed.
Yes, sir. Raider Man 81, a 32-year-old diva receiver with a case of drops isn't worth $44 million. Deal him now before his value plummets. All right, man. Hey, I hear you. I hear you for sure, man. Larry just like, hey, man. He put the peace sign and that's it. That's simple.
Deuce to him.
It's really that simple, and I could not agree myself, man. Like at the end of the day, man, we got the one and only Raider Smoke 89. Hey, man, he knows how to support the show, man. Appreciate the super chat. Nobody bigger than the Shield. Tired of the diva shit. Yeah. We really didn't talk about it too much. We try to ignore it, but we seen signs of it. We seen a couple of different times, and I think what put it on full display was obviously the receiver documentary. If anybody didn't see that receiver documentary with Davante Adams, if you don't got Netflix, jailbreak your Amazon Fire Stick, whatever you got to do, go and watch that documentary and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And you don't even have to go and watch it on Netflix. There's clips of it all over social media, and there are moments in there where you're like, hold up, do you want to be here? Sound like you don't want to be here. You know, because the frustrations of last season, obviously, we were all frustrated. The fan base was frustrated. The players were frustrated. But it just seemed like Davante was out the door because of the quarterback situation. And he kind of came off a little bit like, you know, Raider Smoke 89, you know, hey, kind of agree with you. Diva. Lake Show Raider, man, he says, what up, fellas? He says, what up, fellas? So I'm already thinking about next season. Oh, damn.
It's not over yet.
He said, next season, I got to hold you, man. Come on. There's still a season here, man. Don't give up too soon, man. It's still, the Raiders are 2-2. We'll get into all that. But he says, so I'm already thinking about next season. Do y'all hear about Deion not wanting his son to play for the Raiders? Interesting. Very, very interesting. I didn't hear that. I definitely didn't hear that. If that's the case, hey, good.
Yeah.
This is cool. I'm fine with that. Don't go come to Raiders. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, at first, it seemed like he wanted. It seemed like there were signs that made it seem like he wanted to come to Vegas, but it's not a coincidence. You hear that Davante is getting traded, and then his son. Oh, now you're not interested in coming to Vegas because Davante's gone. Cool. We don't want that. We don't want that, man. We don't want that. Eduardo says trade him the car for Fuaga in the first. Let's trade him to Carr. He not even call him the Saints. He said trade him to Carr. He says for Fuaga in the first. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that. That's just bad business right there. You got a young, talented left tackle. You know what I mean? We were looking at him at right tackle. He's left tackle for the Saints, and he's actually playing well. It seems like out there with the Saints, and I don't think they're gonna do that especially he's on a cheap rookie deal. It's all about value. Left tackles, in my opinion, more valuable than a receiver, even though obviously the receiver position is probably more valuable than it ever has because it's a passing league. But Davante is 32 years old. He's getting older, but I do still think he's going to be a productive player. I think his game will translate just because his skill set is that in that way. But I wish if the Raiders, if we got a trade like this, we should accept it immediately. I would do this instantly. Upgrade the offensive line, and we get a first, meaning that, what is that? Trade ammunition?
Yep.
There you go. I like that. But most likely it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think they're giving up. The guy they just drafted in the first round. It's basically 2 first-round picks for Davante. Like that. There's no way in the world they're doing that, unfortunately.
No,
if we had opportunity, man, we talked about this pre-draft. We said, if he's not in your plans, his contract is about to blow up. Move him to the Jets. The Jets had a top 10 pick. It's like move him to the Jets then when the iron was still hot, like when his value was at its peak, and we could have did it then. And that was ammunition for a trade right there. Trade up. You got 2 first-round pick. You got a top 10 and number 13. You can move up for a quarterback at that point. But hey.
Busy Cyber said, you give him that? A diva? He is a diva. How about that? He is. I think there's a spectrum. I think at the top of the spectrum are the T.O.s and the Randy Mosses. I don't think Davante is that big a diva compared to them, but he's somewhere in the middle. Because he's definitely not Andre Johnson or Marvin Harrison or Tim Brown, where you didn't really hear too much. But I'm sure they have their egos, but we just never heard anything. Or Larry Fitzgerald. He's definitely not there. I think those are guys like at the bottom of the diva. You don't really hear too much from them, but obviously they're great players in their own right. Davante, I think, is somewhere in the middle because it's a little bit more passive aggressive. But let's actually get into what happened today.
Yes.
So today I'm like watching, Davante on the K Adams show, the Up and Adams show. Y'all check it out. Which now that I'm thinking about it, I
don't trust that.
Look. I'm questioning everything. Today, we're going to question everything that Davante decided to do this season. And beyond, and everything that he's done. Hold on one second. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. Everything is. I'm looking at every single thing, every phrase he said, everything AP said, every move he made, every move you make, every step you take. I'll be watching you, like all of that, bro. It's like all of that is under a microscope right now. I'm looking at all of it with a different tint right now because now we done see, and now all those reports are starting to come out. So. I'm side-eyeing everything this dude done said in the past, man. Like, it's crazy in these streets right now, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. So today I was checking out the Up and Adams show. Davante's obviously there, and yesterday, if we just rewind real quick, everybody was on social media was talking about AP liking a post, and then I commented on it. I was like, I believe it when I see it, And then when people checked it, I guess I don't know if he unliked it or it wasn't there. It wasn't showing up. So I'm like, guys, social media is just going to be social media. They're always going to talk about anything, right? Fast forward, Davante's on the show and he's talking about, the trade. And I guess, man, if I had the clip pulled up, I would play it. Give me just a second here. But I'll play some of what was said on the show. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and fill in the blanks real quick.
So as Pharaoh stated, it all started with that like of that tweet, right? And I think the guy, forget his name, who put it out there, he talked about it. And then he kind of reported on it and said, hey, guess who liked this tweet about, Davante playing his last game in a Raiders uniform. And that started off a slew of speculation. People saying, AP wants him gone, or, something's going on behind the scenes. And I think that a lot of Raider fans kind of passed it off as either it was fake or, Antonio Pierce was trolling because he's tired of hearing that same Davante's gone or Davante's not going to be here. Because the AP had just had his presser earlier that day when he talked about weapons on offense, right? He talked about Davante, he talked about Bowers, he talked about Big Mike, he talked about, I think, Trey Tucker as well. So he mentioned all these guys. Davante was one of those people. So that just happened earlier in the day. So the assumption was, hey, you know what? AP is just out here trolling, so we kind of ignored it. We've been hearing these rumors. People have been kind of trying to speak that Davante trade into existence, since last year.
Right.
And we kind of ignored it and was like, oh man, it's all just fake, or it's media speculation and all of this. And then I think that what kind of put everything into better focus is when Davante Adams was doing his I think it's a weekly appearance, a Tuesday appearance on the Up and Adams show with Kay Adams. And he made some comments on there, and that really kind of sparked things off.
Right. So here's just I'm not gonna play the whole thing. He literally talks about the AP situation and his time with the team. Definitely check out the pod. But it's about like 4 minutes of him actually talking about the whole situation. But I'll just play a little bit here of what really kind of popped everything off. So let me go ahead.
Happens where they think your coach or your coach did, I actually don't know, likes this post about you getting traded. When you heard of that, I guess my first question is, how soon did you hear from coach?
I haven't heard from him. I haven't talked to him. So I haven't, I don't know. I don't really know exactly what that was about. Obviously I got, social media is a beast, so it's a lot of people out there that saw it and, wondering what's going on and people reaching out. And I haven't spoke to him.
Well, I'm surprised by that. I would think
So he says he hasn't spoke to him, and
a lot more going on. I hope you hear from your coach today.
Yeah,
All right.
I do too.
Thank you. Oh boy, thank you.
See that little shot at the end? That was at the end of his. So pretty much, he goes into further detail of what happened. His standing with the team and all that. But what was interesting in that whole thing, he went out his way to be like, hey, out of all of this stuff is not coming from me. It's not coming from 1-7. It's trying to imply that it's coming from everybody outside of the team, or even from the team outside of it. Pretty much not. It's not coming from him. So I took note of that. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. And then we hear the report that Davante Adams, according to Ian Rappaport, goes to the team on Monday. This didn't happen today. He went on Monday. So this happened yesterday. And he goes to the team, he pretty much requests, he prefers. That's the words that are being used. He prefers to be traded. He prefers. So he didn't demand to be traded, but he prefers to be traded. And we'll talk about what that might mean in a little bit. But then, fast forward, you think about like, all right, well, didn't AP like a post yesterday? So then now you could see what happened. Like Davante probably let his feelings be known that he wants to be traded. AP's a guy that either you're all in or you all out. There's no in between.
Exactly.
And AP, when he found out that one of his best players on the team is basically, in his eyes, all out, he's like, all right, well, just like everybody in the chat is like, hey, all right, peace, go. You ain't gotta stay here. So you can see where AP was a little frustrated. You can argue like he probably should have done that, but he liked the post, unliked it, whatever. But AP didn't do that out of nowhere. It was because Davante made it be known that he didn't want to be a Raider. So there's different reports that are coming out. So Ian Rappaport talked about how it was reported on Monday that he preferred to be traded. Then Adam Schefter says that the Raiders are considering trading Davante Adams and are asking for at least a second and additional picks. They're just considering.
Yeah.
Which kind of like the words that they're using, it kind of leaves the door open that it might not happen. But they're all negotiating at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is insider Jordan Schultz reports that Davante's team approached the Raiders as early as last season about a possible change of scenery, but no formal trade request was made. So you remember all those trade report? You remember all those? Remember everybody we were talking about how, like, man, the media, they just want to make something out of nothing. It was coming from where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's smoke, there's fire. It was coming from somewhere, and it was coming from Davante, obviously approaching the team as early as last season, according to Jordan Schultz. And he also goes on to say that Davante has been considering a trade for weeks. So take that for however you want it. But for me, this is Davante. So all of this smoke coming from the media saying that Davante is going to get traded. Even, you know what? We got to apologize. We got to formally apologize, Raider Nation, to who? Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson. We got to give him a little apology. Let's give him an apology. I'm going to bring his name in here. We got to apologize. We had a flag on the play. We're like, hey, this dude over here trying to make something out of nothing, disrespecting him and his family, talking about, about him wanting to get traded. But guess what? He was right. Deshaun Jackson. Shout out to Deshaun, man. He told the truth.
Nah.
He told the truth. He told the truth.
Fact.
But Davante wasn't telling the truth, man. He wasn't.
Yeah.
So he's been plotting.
And that's what's crazy is that, man, like, I'm sure, and that makes me think now, like, Davante really said those things, and he said those things in confidence to Deshaun. And in order for Deshaun to kind of, keep that relationship cool, he went out there, he fell on his sword and said, I never heard any of this. But, like, as we said, man, where there's smoke, there's fire. The media has known about this for a long time, and they've known that for a long time, Davante's been lying about it. He's been lying about it, bro. And we wanting to believe what Davante is telling us publicly, we took what Davante said at face value. Oh, I want to be a Raider. I want to be here. Why are they always bringing up these stories? I want to be here. But it was all, like we talked about the receiver documentary. It was all right there. He was saying it last year. Like, and what's crazy is that, that the one, I forgot who talked about it. It might have been, I forgot who brought it up, but they were talking about how when Davante was complaining about, hey, man, I got to get out of here. I ain't never been hit so much in my, was that Tashawn? I think that might have been Tashawn. I ain't never been hit so much in my life. And
that was like, on the receiver documentary.
On a receiver documentary, but that wasn't Jimmy G. A lot of people was like, oh, that was Davante don't want to play with Jimmy. When he said that, Aiden O'Connell was the quarterback. So he was saying that same stuff with whoever the golden boy is, who the quarterback that everybody's saying Davante loves. He was saying it even when he was a starter, and AP was interim coach. That oh man, I never been hit so much in my life. I gotta get the F out of here, or I'm gonna get killed. Whatever he was talking about, he was saying that when those two same guys were the leaders of the organization, right? So what really was supposed to change this offseason? If AP is still the head guy, And Aiden was still, for the longest time, the leader of the pack in terms of a QB battle until, probably late in camp and early in the preseason. So like there was not much there to change. So he laid all of his feelings out there, like over 17 weeks. He made it clear how he felt about the organization, and we glossed over it because he said some nice things this offseason. Like he said the right things publicly, but when the cameras was on and his true emotions were there, what was he saying? He was saying it all right there, and we just chose not to believe it.
Nah, facts, 100%, man. And now AP's famous quotes from after the Panthers game all make sense.
Yep.
Business decisions. And definitely check out the K. Adams interview because you can kind of read between the lines as things will start making sense. You know what I mean? For me, it kind of did because Davante was also asked about his injury. And when he was asked about his injury, they asked him, has he ever been hurt like that before? He said, yes, he was. A couple of seasons ago, I think when he played for the Green Bay Packers. And it was way worse with the Green Bay Packers, and he missed 2 games, but he could have played the second game if he wanted to. So I was like, you compared the injury that you currently have, and you said it was way worse before, and you could have played the second game when you missed 2 games in the past. So meaning that you're kind of making it seem like you could have played this game.
Yes.
So, maybe that was the Raiders or Davante saying, you know what, we need to let's rescue this game. I don't know, but yeah, man, there's so many things to talk about. We'll get into it real quick. Let's hit up the super chat. We appreciate everybody pulling up and supporting the show, man. My guy Gerard Pope, appreciate you, man. Appreciate the super chat real quick. He says, didn't see it at first. It wasn't till this last game that I began to wonder about DA. Meanwhile, I love the way Tucker, DJ, others played Sunday. Facts, man. 100%, man. Let's give him a rating. Yeah, man. I like the way they played, but I still think that, as much as
It's gonna hurt.
Losing Davante is going to hurt, man, because Davante it's a true number one receiver. True number one receiver.
It's still top 5 in the league, bro. It's going to hurt.
So I'm hoping in a trade, if we do trade, if it's not going to be a first-round pick, most likely it's not, just according to reports and how teams are valuing players at his age, even though I feel like Davante's still, a top player at his position. I'm hoping that maybe we can get like a second-round pick and a good player in return.
Yeah.
Maybe a receiver, maybe a pass rusher. I don't know, like something to upgrade this team, like really get better. It's a tough situation because on one hand, I'm thinking like, you know what? Raiders have a little bit they have some leverage here. They got a month till the trade deadline. There's a lot of teams that would love to have Davante Adams, but obviously the amount of money he's getting paid could affect things. I know that his salary for the year, I believe if they trade for him right now, it'll be like 14 mil. If they traded for him the week of the trade, it'll drop all the way down to 10 mil. So teams might. So I think the Raiders there's time on their side, but I like if you just pay attention to how they worded it, they kind of left the door from both sides. Davante saying I preferred, and from the Raiders saying we're considering. It opens the door for them to come back and be like, let's play out the season. So We'll keep an eye on it, but I mean, if we can get a trade, man, let's do it now. I don't want to wait, man. Let's go ahead and this could be a cloud over the whole locker room, to be honest with you, a huge distraction.
The sooner the better. The sooner the better. And like, man, the writing's been on the wall, man. The writing has been on the wall. We talked about it before. I think we speculated last year, about Davante wanting out, and that the Raiders may have to trade him if for nothing else because of the contract. And then the receiver thing happened, and then the preseason game happened where AP states clearly, right? He's like, yo, everybody's playing, and then he leaves that caveat, unless you're not healthy enough to play. And then all of a sudden, and then Davante says he's not playing. And then all of a sudden, Davante has an injury, right? And in that same presser, Davante said he hadn't played in the preseason game since 2016. But then he has, played in every preseason game since 2016, except I think like 2020 or 2021. But every other preseason game, he had played in all those other preseasons. So it's like the math wasn't mathing. And it started to look like, Davante was kind of on his own program. He wasn't fully bought in. And as you stated, man, if you're not fully in, then you're out. We can't. Yeah. All it takes is one, right? Yeah. One bad apple can spoil you the bunch. And we saw what Davante was doing last year. And this was I was critical of him, but when I saw it in the receiver documentary, right, instead of bigging up your boy or going to him personally and having these conversations behind closed doors, you're like basically gossiping, like to other people, saying how much you don't like this dude. Like that's not consummate of a leader. I could take it other places, but let's leave it there. That's not consummate of a leader. That's not how a leader behaves, right? Like that's not what you do. If you have an issue with somebody, yo, bro, we gonna talk it out man to man. I don't like you doing this. I'm not about to, and especially if like you're on a team. If it's somebody on the outside you don't like, hey, you can want to keep them at arm's distance. Keep them at arm's distance. But if we're supposed to coexist and work together, but you going behind my back to dirt me every opportunity you get, like bro, like then like you're not a solid individual, and I can't trust you. And it's proven here, right? This entire time he's been saying, I want to be here. I want to be here. Why would anybody think that I don't want to be here? Meanwhile, he has his representation working behind the scenes, inquiring on ways to get him out of here. So, like, bro, like I'm cool, man. If he wants to leave, bro, chunk the deuce and get loose. You can bounce.
Right. I agree 100%. Pope, man, I appreciate the super chat. Man, we got Smoke again with another super chat. My guy, he says, offense flowed better without having to force feed them. Stack these picks and get our QB to the future. Garrett Wilson or Hassan Reddick, second rounder. Now, I know this is wishful thinking, but man, because I feel like the Hassan Reddick situation has like really gone bad for the Jets. So I don't know if there's a scenario where he comes back and signs a contract. And I'm not sure if the Jets want to do that just based off like the principle of how he handled the situation. Because I think there was a verbal agreement with them that once he got traded, he would play out the year and they would, they'll negotiate a contract for him. Instead, Hassan decided to be like, nope, I'm not reporting until you give me a deal, which hasn't happened yet. So I'm hoping that they can throw in Hassan Reddick in a trade with Garrett Wilson in the second rounder. That's me being wishful thinking. Most likely it's going to be, a second rounder. If we can get Garrett Wilson back, I'm not going to lie, that would be beautiful.
That would be amazing. See, but I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all. They want to pair Garrett Wilson.
He's still on a
with
rookie
somebody.
deal. I think he's still on a rookie deal. Yeah.
And he's a dog,
Yeah.
So not for say if maybe like straight up Davante for Garrett Wilson, but even then I think the Jets say no. And like Aaron Rodgers would have to, and Aaron Rodgers, and the problem is that's why we had to do it before the season, because right now Aaron Rodgers hasn't been good enough. Like if like the thought of Aaron Rodgers before the season, like yo, bro, this is 2 times. Like this, like how many? I don't know how many times you won MVP, but this like I think like 4 or 5 times, like 4 or 5 time MVP.
Yeah.
And this is the receiver he wants. And he can walk away at any time. And we have all this dead cap on those dead money on the cap. Like we want to do whatever we can to appease him. But now, like Aaron Rodgers out there looking regular. He like bro, we ain't about to like move heaven and earth to bring in nobody you want. Like you some bum. Like we can't wait to get away from you now. At this point, you ain't playing like A-Rod. You playing, like you playing like you Favre with the Vikings, bro. You go somewhere.
Hey, Raider Smoke, man, another super chat. He says, I'm questioning everything. Like my girl asked me why Pizza Hut is calling you at 11 p.m. Nah, for real, man. You do. You got to question everything. At this point, you got to. Because let's be honest, there's another guy that didn't play last game. Michael Mayer.
Yeah.
He's out for personal reasons. When AP was asked this Monday about Michael Mayer, he wouldn't give out to him. It might be something personal going on, so he's being respectful of the player. But there have been rumors that Michael Mayer can possibly be on the trade block as well, or he's looking to get traded based off his role on the team, whatever the case. But I guess at this point, if Davante going to get traded, hey, it probably makes sense for him to stay. You know what I mean? Because that's some targets that might open up for him. You know what I mean? The whole offense is going to change, with Davante Adams gone. So it might make sense for him to stay.
And one of the reasons I didn't like the Brock Bowers pick is because I didn't feel that having him and Davante Adams will really work. And worked. We saw it kind of worked through the first 2 weeks, and Brock Bowers was on a record pace, and then Brock Bowers has cooled off like a motherfucker these last 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
But I think that not having Davante there, now you can build the offense around Brock. You can do all of the things that Georgia was doing, all the little gimmicky things and all the like the tight end drags and the tight end screens and all this stuff they were doing, and just have Brock be that guy. And then, you can have Michael Mayer. He can play that Darnell Washington role, right? And still be an effective tight end too. So you can make it work. And Davante not being there, that makes it much easier because now everything you don't have to worry about, hey, Davante is no longer in the equation. You don't have to make those considerations. You can say Brock is going to be our number one target. We're going to build our offense around him, hand him the ball, everything he did over there, and have our offense built that way. And then have Michael Mayer as a complement if he's still here. And then you still have, other effective players in Jacoby, and, the emergence of DJ Turner helps a lot. And then, the steady improvement of Trey Tucker as well. So I think there will still be some hope on this offense. Of course, it's going to hurt. Anytime you lose a player of Davante's caliber, it's going to hurt. But, it may end up being a blessing in disguise, especially if we get some solid draft capital back, and then we're able to fully unleash Brock Bowers and do everything that they were doing with them at Georgia, which is where I think he would be at his best.
Yeah. No, and guess what? Let's go back to pick number 13. One of the things that we talked about during our draft show was how this pick can make sense. And I don't know, I believe, I think I was talking about it, whatever. The conversation came up where how this pick makes sense if Davante Adams doesn't stay past this year. Yeah. And guess what? Now that Brock Bowers pick is even more valuable because now we have someone that we can feature because now we have some. See, this is how you shout out to Telesco. I got to give him credit. That was a straight up chess move because unlike previous GMs like Ziegler who thought, let's extend Derek Carr and wait till the end of the year to get rid of him and then get nothing for him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, where we don't replace the quarterback position with whatever trade assets or even a player. At least at the very least, Telesco had enough foresight to be like, you know what? Davante, most likely he's not going to stay here long term. It's just a lot of different variables. And he's like, it just makes sense to go with a guy like Brock Bowers, which they probably said he was the best player on their board, of course, but they could easily went offensive line at pick number 13, or they could have traded down because the Rams were calling. I forgot the other team that was calling as well that was trying to trade up. They were all trying to trade up to get Brock Bowers. And, the Raiders were like, nah, we're going to draft our guy, and the rest is history. At least that puts us at ease because we have someone that's talented and that we can feature. And we can build around that. Because if you think about it, I like Jacoby Myers still. I don't think he's a true number one. Right. I think he could be a solid, complimentary piece, number two, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to trade Michael Mayer. I do like him being an X factor. And now that there's targets opening up on offense, I feel like, hey, that's good. Trey Tucker, I think the Raiders are feeling more confident with Trey Tucker and his speed and him just stepping up from preseason, even last game, playing well. But all that being said, the presence of Davante Adams it's gonna hurt. You know what I mean? Especially because our run game is still in developmental mode right now. We don't really have an answer right now. I mean, Madison looked solid. He looked solid last game. Zamir just scares me. Like, is this dude, fourth quarter, is this dude gonna fumble every time there's a crucial moment in the game? Come on. Hey, put Madison in the game. Put Madison in the game. Let that dude be the starter. Let Zamir kind of come in until he figures his stuff out. Earn his way back into, to me, in my opinion, the confidence of the coaching staff. I'm sure they're still confident in him. They like his talent, but I think, you know, I mean, Severe, if you want to speak on it, is Zamir struggling? I think Zamir is struggling a little bit right now.
Yeah, man, he's definitely struggling, man. And the thing that sucks the most is that, you know, outside of that fumble, that was probably his best game. He was running with more purpose, running more violently. He was actually, you know, there are a few plays where he actually displayed some great vision. Now, there's one play in particular where I want to say Andres Pete was in there and he missed the block. But you know, hey, Zamir was going from like he had seen a hole from like the B gap on the right side. He was about to, you know, cut back all the way to the C gap on the left side, and then Pete missed the block, so he had to cut back inside. But he was displaying good vision, and it's just that one play, you know, that kind of destroyed any kind of momentum that he had built. And at this point, man, like even
he did have that one run. He did have that run where I thought he was going to take it to the house. If y'all remember, watching this, I thought he was going to take it to the house, but that safety caught him, shoestring tackle, whatever case may be, he caught him. But them fumbles hurt, man, in crucial moments like that. 20-10 in the fourth quarter, it's game over the way the defense is playing. And he fumbles.
You can't do that.
Madison,
and that's the problem.
Come on,
you can't fumble. Like when you're running back, your number one job is protect the ball. So even if he was starting to get it together offensively and starting to run better, you can't have a running back that puts the ball on the ground. It's 2 times in 4 games. Like you gotta take a back seat to other back. You gotta take a back seat to other backs. We can't afford turnovers, especially on an offense that is really kind of struggling to score. And then you give up, you know, 7 points to other teams because of your turnover. And I want to say they scored off the previous turn. I want to say that the Chargers scored off his fumble in the first game. So you're putting teams in advantageous field position and allowing them to get touchdowns and field goals because you're turning the ball over, man. Like you gotta take a back seat. And I still think he's the most talented back we have on our roster, but yet still, like if you're turning the ball over, man, that's unacceptable.
I think he's probably more talented than Madison, but I think Madison is probably more he's more productive than Zamir. He's been more productive
as far as
way been more. But like even last game, like he had Madison had himself a game, 5 carries, 60 yards. He looked good. He was making people miss, cutting, breaking tackles. So I definitely think that he should probably be more featured more, and then let Zamir come in here and there. But yeah, man, Zamir. You know, I before the season I call him an X factor, and right now I'm a little bit disappointed in him. But hey, with the recent, you know, reports that Davante wants to be traded and the Raiders are shopping him, it puts that much pressure on the offense, and it puts that much pressure on everything, every player on the team. And I think having a run game is going to be that much more crucial. And I think that's going to be, in my opinion, I think that's probably going to be a position that the Raiders are going to have to like really circle this offseason. Try to get like a running back. Because no matter what, whoever's going to be at that quarterback position, we got to make it easier for him. It's going to be a young player, I hope. It's going to be a young player that the Raiders draft and get their franchise QB. But if you want this young player to be successful early on, let's have someone over back there that can run the football. Hopefully, hey, maybe Zamir White grows within the season and becomes that guy. But as of right now, I'm not 100% confident. Can't trust it, man. You know what's crazy, y'all? Hey, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody coming through. Man, it's going to be a great show. You know, today's show was supposed to be talking about last game. We kind of talking about it, but it was supposed to be talking about last game. We actually got a special guest. We had Mo Moton stop by, and we had a really good conversation. We're going to go ahead and we're going to play that interview in a second, man. But that's all we wanted to do. We just wanted to talk about the game and had an interview and just talk about the win. But instead, we're talking about Davante Adams want to get traded, man. Crazy. Ain't it crazy, man?
Man.
One day, just everything just changed like that. But let me, before we play that now, I know, man, the chat is going crazy right now. I gotta, let me see what people are talking about right now. Mr. Marty Martin, the building, he says AP knows what it takes to get a ring. He did win one. He did. He won one at least with the Giants. Did he win two? Just one.
I think he was only there for the first one, I want to say.
The first one? Because I know the Giants during that time, they won
They
like
won
a couple.
two. Yeah, they won two. But I think he was only there for the first one, if I recall correctly.
So he knows what it looks like, what a winning championship winning team looks like. He knows what that looks like. So we got to give him a benefit of doubt. Raider Man 81 says, I guess Tay was the business decision AP was talking about. There's a lot of business decisions. From the Jack Jones was benched last game. We didn't get a chance to talk about that. Jack Jones missed the entire first quarter. He was on the bench. And obviously Michael Mayer is nowhere to be found. He's gone for personal reasons. We don't know. We're just speculating. But at this point, like we said in the beginning of the show, we going to question everything. We try to give Davante the benefit of the doubt. We said, you know what? He wants to be a Raider. All these reports. But guess what? All these reports were coming from Davante Adams. They were coming from him. Because he wanted to get traded since last season. But they didn't formally request. Formally request to be traded, but they just asked, like, how would it change his scenery? And I'm sure, like, there was a conversation, and they're like, no, Davante, just stay. We're building something here.
Yeah.
They should have traded him back then. Like, they should have traded him, and we might have gotten a first-round pick, to be honest with you. But now, I think there's still a chance to get some good compensation. It's not like the Raiders have to trade him next week. There's a whole month, like, literally, until November 5th. I mean, do you feel like they should trade him as soon as possible? Or should they just wait until they find a great offer if no one offers a team good trade compensation, just keep them?
No, you can't keep them. You got to move them. You try to get the best deal you can get, but you got to get him off the team as soon as possible. Do what you can, maximize his value, but at the end of the day, he don't want to be here. And you don't want that kind of guy around the team, sitting in the locker room, sitting in meetings. We already see how Davante is. He'll be in there, like down talking like the entire organization, down talking AP and doing all kind of stuff in the meeting rooms. And then that just makes things awkward for everybody. So, AP couldn't really coach him effectively. Getsy's not going to really be able to coach him effectively because, Getsy at the end of the day, he's still an extension of AP because he's on the coaching staff. AP is his boss. So it just makes things awkward for everybody. Just, send him down at home and wait by the phone, and we'll let you know when the deal has been consummated. And then you can come clean out your locker room and, peace out.
I agree. Jesus says he should get traded. With this team that we have, we are not going to do anything this year, therefore get draft picks. Yeah, preferably, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying, but I'm like, I don't want the Raiders to get something terrible. I don't want them to get a bad trade. Hopefully the Raiders can get some good trade compensation. I get where you're coming from, Severe. Like, I get it, and it could be a distraction to the team. I get it, but I want the Raiders to get the best deal possible. I don't care. We got to get something because I know Davante is one of the best receivers in the league. I know it. This is not no Keenan Allen situation where, he went to the Bears for a 4th-round pick. Davante is way better than Keenan Allen. Way better. Keenan Allen's a slot receiver. If we're being honest, he's a slot receiver. Davante plays on the inside, outside. It don't matter. You can put him anywhere. They're not the same type of receiver. I seen something in social media. I think it was Albert Breer implied that, Davante is around the same age and this is what Keenan Allen went for. I'm like, nah, they're not the same player though. You know what I mean? They're not the same player. And right now there's a big need for receivers. There's a few teams that need a receiver. There's the Pittsburghs. There's the Bills. Obviously money is going to be an issue, but the Jets, Baltimore Ravens. Hopefully it goes to NFC. Saints always figure out a way to keep like pushing contracts. They figure out a way. Hopefully he goes and teams up with his boy Derek Carr. At least get him out of the AFC. I don't want him in the AFC. I don't want to play against Davante and he has 200 yards against us receiving. I don't want to see that type of stuff happen. Don't let that happen. Hopefully he gets traded to another conference. But real
We
quick,
played
man,
the
we
Saints
got
this year though. So
You said it again?
we played the Saints this year though. So we traded to the Saints.
Hey, you know what? You know what? One game. I don't care. I'll go to that game too. I'll go to that game. I'm gonna
I'll
talk
boo the
shit.
hell out of Davante, bro. I would never boo a human being,
Man.
bro. I would be out there with one of those big ass cones.
I'm sure the team, the Raiders, are gonna be so motivated, bro. They're gonna be so motivated that game too.
Oh yeah.
If that were to happen, because
bro, let Davante come across. We saw how violently Isaiah Palomar was coming through all these coming to hit these ball carriers.
Yeah.
Like imagine Davante catching the pass over the middle and Isaiah Palomar coming downhill full speed to deliver a kill shot. Like dude's gonna play with a different type of violence. Knowing that Davante basically turned his back on the organization.
Definitely, yeah. Now, facts. But real quick, man, we got a big announcement. People been asking. We've been, kind of implying that we've been telling y'all to, pre-order this, pre-order that. But we have the official 50-50 shop, man. Go ahead. The link is in the chat. It's pinned. I'm not sure, Severe, if it's pinned on your side or it's in the description, but I know that in my chat, I pinned the link. Go ahead and check the 50-50 shop, man. We got shirts for the ladies, true to size. We got 50-50 cups out here. Get your 50-50 cup. We got hoodies. Definitely check out the hoodies. We got the 50-50 play, t-shirt, man. Definitely check it out, man. We got some stuff here. And the shop is going to be, as the season goes on, we're going to be adding more merch as well. So, hey, get it while it's there. We appreciate the support. This is another way to support the channel, the show, so we can keep coming back and doing this. Yeah, man, definitely check out the website, man. 5050shop.printify.me. The link is in the chat. Just to make it simple, it's pinned. My mods, if you can repost it, very helpful as well. And we appreciate all the support, man. It's a great way to support the show, support the channel. You know what I mean? So we keep coming back and doing this, man. But yeah, man. Hey, look, you know what I'm saying? I got my mug right here. You know what I mean? Got it right.
That's a clean mug, man. That mug is clean.
Hey, man, you got to get your mug while it's there, man. But let's not waste any time, man. We had a great interview, great sit down talk with Bleacher Report NFL writer Mo Moton. The guy is everywhere. Host of the Silver and Black Today. Does a weekly show every Thursday on TNT. Like, man, great. I'm glad he was able to stop by
as well.
Writer for Sportsnot as well. Man, the guy is a man of many talents. Was able to sit down and talk about the Raiders before the whole Davante situation unfolded, but still had some great insight on the team and the state of the Raiders. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this interview, and let's get into it, man. All right, here we go. Hey, man, we got a special guest today, man. We got Midtown Mo Moton from Bleacher Report, man. Got to give him a round of applause real quick for joining us. Hey, man, we're going to have a great show, great conversation. Mo, what's going on? How you been?
Been pretty good. This Raider September, first month of the season, has been a roller coaster. I'm sure you guys would agree with that. The Raiders are down, then they're up, then they're down, then they're up. So we're going into October. Win streak over Denver. We'll see how this goes, and we can break it down.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, let's start with the season, man. How it started. The Raiders right now are at 2-2. Obviously, it's just the way it kind of happened. I think a lot of, and I shout out to Severe. He made a great point that a lot of people kind of expected this team to be around 2-2 just based off the kind of the tough early schedule. But they won games that people kind of expected them to lose before when the schedule came out. What do you think of the start of the Raiders so far this season?
So far this season, I would say it's about what I expected, except for the Carolina loss. Even though I did have them beating the Chargers, because I feel like the Chargers had a lot of new going on, and the Raiders could take advantage of that. But apparently, Antonio Pierce said it after the game that they got a wake-up call. The Chargers were more physical than the Raiders in that opener. And then with the with the Cleveland Browns being a mess, I felt like even with everything going on behind the scenes with the Raiders, the team meeting, the business decision comment, Davante Adams not playing, I felt like the Raiders still had a shot to win the game and it would be close, and they pulled it out. So here we are with a mediocre Raiders team, and that's kind of what I expected them to be with their quarterback situation. I had some doubts about Luke Getsy, but I said for the most part the defense would be good. Now, excluding that Carolina game, I feel like the defense is still on point. They need to patch up their run D. I think some of the guys that stepped up last week, Charles Snowden, Isaiah Polamau, will help them in that regard. But I would say it's about what I expected, and I'm hoping that it gets better, especially with Luke Getsy finding the run game against the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, man, I hope so too, because that offense looks shaky when you don't have a run game, especially when you got those. Everybody was excited about the two tight ends, and right now Michael Mayer is out. I don't know, man. I don't know if you've heard anything, Mo, but it's this Michael Mayer situation is kind of strange, man. I don't know if we haven't really heard too much of why he's out. He's out for personal reasons. That being said, we kind of expected that two-headed monster at tight end, that 1-2 punch, but we haven't really seen it. We've seen Brock Bowers though. Brock Bowers has looked the part of a guy that, man, he really fell to the Raiders. What do you think of him so far in the offense as far as how they're utilizing the players?
Yeah, Brock Bowers is doing his thing. It's just that I would like to see him get more targets. Now, we've had consecutive weeks where I feel like Brock Bowers just wasn't targeted enough. I know he got hurt in the previous game in week 3, and that's maybe affected his target volume. But last week, there was really no excuse other than, okay, maybe they had him blocking more to help out the run game, because let me tell you, he had a phenomenal game as far as blocking is concerned. I remember when the Raiders drafted him, a lot of fans were questioning, can he block on this level? Well, watch that game against the Cleveland Browns and you'll get your answer to that. But I want to see him more involved in the passing game, especially with Davante Adams being out for who knows how long he'll be out with that hamstring injury. Brock Bowers should be the focal point of that passing attack. Now, of course, you still want to have Trey Tucker get involved, Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer, assuming he gets back. You want those guys involved, but Brock Bowers should be your A1 target going forward. And Luke Getsy has a history of using his tight ends well, so it should be no excuse. If you look at Cole Kmet's numbers with the Chicago Bears over the last 2 years, that's Luke Getsy play calling for him. So I don't see why Brock Bowers, who I think could be an All-Pro and a future Hall of Famer, I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't see why he shouldn't have these spectacular games, especially why Davante Adams.
Getting way ahead of yourself, Mo. Getting way ahead of yourself there.
Way ahead. I know. But I see the vision.
Now, I mean, I'm a guy. I'm one of the people that I was critical of that pick just because of the way he was used at Georgia. I said, he had to be used in a very specific way. And you saw, I think he had 3 contested catches game 1, and he hasn't had one since. And I think that you look at 90% of his catches, it's just him running wide open because, he finds a hole in the zone or people are leaving him. So I haven't seen him create a lot of opportunities himself. I've seen him schemed into opportunities where he's caught passes and there's no one around him, but I haven't seen a lot of situations where Brock beats a guy and now I'm open and now I can do my thing. I think last game they tried to put the ball in his hands however way they could. We saw him run on a jet sweep. I think we need to see more of that because I think with the ball in his hands, he's probably, outside of Davante, probably the best Raider with the ball in their hands. So I think Luke Getsy does need to do a better job of that. But I think this previous game, I saw a step up in Luke Getsy in terms of some of the creativeness or creativity in his offense. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So 6 ball carriers other than Gardner Minshew had a carry. And that includes the DJ Turner touchdown. That includes Trey Tucker scoring. So what you saw was some improvement from the creativity standpoint. Now, I did a show after, and people were still like, no, get Luke Getsy out of here. This dude is trash. And I'm like, you can't just look at that game and say it was all bad because, again, the Raiders got their run game going. And to me, it was all about the speed. As you know, Raider fans know, speed kills, right? And that's what killed the Browns on the ground. Getting those wide receivers involved. You talk about even Brock Bowers getting the carry. That speed is not his calling card, but the variety there, as you said, the creativity was there, and you're hoping to see more of that going forward. So that's why I said when the first 3 weeks of the season went by and people were like, they gotta fire Luke Getsy, and I'm like, let's give him some time. Let's give him more than a month to see if he can improve. Because let's remember, he still has a limited resume as a play caller. He was only an OC for 2 years with Chicago. I know he was in Green Bay. He was a passing game coordinator, but that's very different than being the main guy calling the plays for your football team. So I would say he still has a lot to learn as a play caller. Give him some time, let him develop, let it cook a little bit.
Man, Mo, I'm gonna have to push back a little bit. I do agree that we shouldn't, jump off the ship with Luke Getsy this early in the season because I know what the alternative is. I mean, the season's over, especially on offense, and we can't do that, especially this early. But the way Raider Nation works, man, we like Antonio Pierce said the other day, we love you one day, we hate you one day. It is what it is. It comes with being a fan as a Raider, right? But with Luke Getsy, you mentioned experience, right? You don't look at being a play caller as something that you got it or you don't, because a lot of the play callers that come into the NFL, like they kind of come into the NFL kind of running. I feel like a lot of the guys they come out. I feel like I don't want to say like the Kyle Shanahans, the Sean McVays. You kind of knew right away like these guys has what it takes to be to run an NFL franchise or be a head coach of the team because the way they're running that offense, the way they're calling the, how it is. A lot of these owners, they want the top offensive minds in football running their franchise because they understand the relationship between a head coach and a QB. So you think Getsy can get better as a play caller? I thought that was something that you had.
Right. So I look at it kind of like how you look at player development. Like there are certain players out there who you can see right away they're going to be a star. So we're watching Malik Neighbors right now do his thing with the Giants. You know right away that guy's going to be a star, right? But there are some guys who may take more than a year, may take more than 2 years, right? And you can learn from mistakes in any regard, in any profession you have, right? You're not necessarily great right away. And you can develop over time, learn from mistakes, learn from other people. There's a such thing as development, and there's a such thing as correction. And I think that, and I go back to this, when Luke Getsy was hired, he basically admitted that, or it came out that he had issues tailoring his scheme to player strengths. And that was something that he was going to have to work on going forward. Now, if you can recognize that and make the corrections, so be it. I don't think he'll ever be a Kyle Shanahan or a Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, or
Right.
Sean McVay in Los Angeles, but can he get better is the question. And then after that, when you see what he can be, is that good enough to develop a quarterback? Because the Raiders, regardless of what happens this year, I'm drafting a quarterback early. I don't care if Gardner Minshew looks like Rich Gannon, in the second half of the season, or Aiden O'Connell comes in and he looks serviceable. The Raiders should draft a quarterback, and they have to feel confident in that play call of developing whoever that young quarterback is. So all I'm saying is let's look at Luke Getsy by the end of the year and say, is this play caller creative enough? Is he good enough to develop a young quarterback that we're going to draft in 2025?
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm a little bit different from Pharaoh, where I took a lot of flack even in the McDaniels days. I'm a person that I think people are results driven, right? They see a play not go well or not get a first down. Like, oh, that's a bad play call. Well, I'm a person where I don't just look at the play call. I look at the execution. And then throughout these several weeks, right, through the 4 weeks of the season, I think there's been a lot of issues with execution. Now, sometimes that comes down to coaching. But sometimes you can coach it into somebody and they just don't get it, right? Through these first 3 weeks, I've seen Brock whiff on some blocks. I've seen, Harrison Bryant miss. And I think part of it is the differences in zones, where there's covered, uncovered, most dangerous man, all that stuff. Sometimes it takes some time to get up to speed, especially if that's not something you're used to doing, especially, you're going from inside zone to outside zone, all that stuff. But a lot of it's been player execution. I put a lot of the blame on the offensive line, but some of the blame has gone to the quarterback. I think, for some fans, most of the blame is going to the quarterback. I would push back on that a little bit. But what have been your thoughts so far on Gardner Minshew? And do you think that a change to Aiden O'Connell would have the effect on this offense that some of the fans, primarily people that already had a built-in bias toward Aiden O'Connell, think he would have on this offense?
So I'll say this about Gardner Minshew. I said this in the offseason right after he was named the starter. I said 2 things he has to work on. He has to get the easy routine completions, the layup throws, as I call them. Antonio Pierce called it out that sometimes he misses his first and second read and holds on to the ball too long. I had a Bleacher Report live last week where I pulled up the PFF stats. 25% of the pressures through 3 weeks were on Gardner Minshew because he was holding the ball too long. He has to let that ball go sometimes. As you pointed out with coaching and player execution, you can call a play, but the player has to execute. Gardner Minshew, for me, Gardner Minshew has to learn to get those easy completions. Now, I will say on top of that is I don't think Aiden O'Connell will give you drastically significant better results simply because I'm a person who says consistency. So the offensive line, as you pointed out, some of the blame goes on the offensive line. I want to see consistent weeks or multiple weeks where the offensive line pass blocks well before I put Aiden O'Connell back there. Why? Because he's a less mobile quarterback than Gardner Minshew. I'm not saying Gardner Minshew's Josh Allen out there, but he's more mobile than Aiden O'Connell. And if you have an offensive line that's inconsistent with his pass blocking, you don't want to put a less mobile quarterback behind that line. You're going to get a lot more sacks. Now, I know Aiden O'Connell's a quick release, and that's fine. But if you want the deep throws downfield, you're going to need time for those routes to develop so you can get those big plays to Trey Tucker and Davante Adams when he's back. So while I have my criticisms of Gardner Minshew and holding the ball too long and creating his own pressure, I wouldn't put Aiden O'Connell back there yet until I see the offensive line form more chemistry. You just got Jackson Powers-Johnson out there for more snaps. DJ Glaze is a rookie. Let that offensive line gel a little bit before you make a quarterback switch if Gardner Minshew isn't playing well.
Hey, I agree. And that's kind of where I'm at with the quarterback position is that if we're going to continue to see Minshew be out there, it's because the offensive line right now needs to get their act together. Once they get their act together and Minshew's continuing to miss wide open players, chunk plays, because that might work against the Browns, but that might not work against really good teams like the Chiefs or whoever the top teams that are out there that the Raiders have to play this year. That we can't get away with that. So we need some consistency, like you said, in accuracy from Minshew when he's protected. But as of right now, the O-line is still getting together. Some good signs last game where they were able to, get the run game going and at times protect him and give him time. He didn't have that consistency. And I'm not going to say Minshew should lose his job right now, but I think we all can agree that quarterback position needs to be upgraded just overall. We need to find that long-term franchise quarterback, whether it's in the draft or free agency. I'm more towards the draft because I don't want us to pay a quarterback that much money and then we got so many holes to fill on the team, right? So I agree. I think AOC, if he does come on, it's because Minshew, if he doesn't get the job done when the O-line is playing and he has a run game and we got all these weapons, and we start losing these close big games, then I think Antonio has to make a decision. But I think as of right now, I think we should keep Minshew for sure. But that being said, man, where can we go right now? I mean, the defense you mentioned struggled to run, to stop the run, and I think that's been an issue every game. But now with Max Crosby out, Kuntz out, Tyree has been the focus, and we've been on this show or on shows that we've been on. A lot of Raider Nation has been tough on Tyree, especially because with the recent, or not even recent. I mean, the Raiders have always had issues in the draft. Drafting the right player in the first couple of rounds, right? Give or take a couple of years where we did all right, but especially this year it looks like we're doing well. But Tyree, looks like, just according to PFF, he had a solid game. What's your outlook on Tyree Wilson, especially this season?
So my main criticism of Tyree year one, and everyone saw it, he had a slow get off. But I kind of got off of that during the preseason. I said, well, he's getting off the ball a lot better. His problem is he wasn't shedding blocks, and he didn't have a tool set. He didn't have a move set as far as getting to the quarterback. He didn't have a pass rush plan. The best pass rushers have a plan, have a counter to this, have a counter to that, hand technique. He just didn't have all that, and I felt like he needed to spend time with the defensive line coach to develop his technique a little more. Now, you're getting the results. I believe PFF said he had 5 pressures last week against the Browns, so that is a step up. But because he was the 7th overall pick in his draft class, people are expecting a lot more, and I understand that perspective. But I go back to what Adam Butler said to Vic Tafur of The Athletic, is that his development is he's going to be taking baby steps. He's not going to be taking leaps and bounds. So if you're expecting 8 to 10 sacks while Malcolm Kuntz is out, while Max Crosby's out from Tyree Wilson, you're not going to get that, and you're going to be disappointed. But if you look at it from the lens of, okay, he's developing, he's taking those baby steps forward, then you'll be pleased with what you saw last week, and you're hoping that it continues throughout the rest of the season. Because let's remember, after the foot injury, after the foot surgery he had last year, he started to come together a little bit mid-season last year. The light bulb started to go off. So what I'm hoping is that the light bulb goes off a little earlier, being that he didn't have a season where he was recovering off a surgery. He had a full off season. Now he's getting to play more with Malcolm Kuntz and now Max Crosby out. I'm hoping that the play time helps expedite his development a bit. But it was encouraging to see what he did last week against the Browns.
Yeah, most definitely. Go ahead, Samir.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, outside of Tyree, there is another very, well, now I want to say very polarizing player, because I think this guy is almost universally hated. But Davante Diablo, he's been out since after week 2, and I'm a person where the first week of the season I cooked Davante Diablo. I think he had a horrible game. I think he had 4 or 5 missed tackles. But then watching the film of the Ravens game, on a play-to-play basis, in my opinion, he was as good, or in some instances better, than Robert Spillane in that game. Now, Spillane had the big splashes. He had the interception. I think he had that big pass breakup on Lamar in that game. But, he was also a guy that bit several times in play action, and it seems like the Ravens took advantage of him in pass coverage. And then Davante Diablo goes down for week 3, and I think we kind of see his importance. I think in that week 2 game, he was almost flawless against the pass, and then we missed him in Carolina. Luke Masterson is clearly not the answer, and I think the coaching staff realized that, because this previous game, they were, we saw Bernie, we saw Eichenberg out there as well. So I think, what are your thoughts on Davante Diablo as a player? Because I know that he gets a lot of hate from Raider Nation, and in my opinion, it's not completely warranted.
I wouldn't say I'm highly critical of Davante Diablo. My question has always been his consistency in pass coverage. Now, I felt like what a lot of people do is, if they don't like a player, then they just throw it all out and say he's just completely trash. He's not good in any aspect of the game. I think he could be a good run defender. Now, as you pointed out, it had some whiffs early in the season. But I think overall, when you look at his career with the Raiders so far, I think he's a decent run defender and at times pretty good. But my question with Davante Diablo is, can he hold up in pass coverage? And in this league, when you have an increasing number of pass-catching tight ends and running backs out of the backfield, your linebackers now have to be able to play in space and be able to cover. And that's probably why I think, if he doesn't get back and play well as he did early in the season, he's not coming back. He's not going to be signing a second contract. If you look at Tom Telesco's history of signing or re-signing players on his roster, and he didn't draft Davante Diablo, by the way. If you look at Tom Telesco's history of re-signing players, middle round players, 3rd to 5th round, it's not very high. I remember specifically Kaiser White was a guy I felt like should have been with the Chargers long term. He didn't re-sign him, and Kaiser White plays good football, but Tom Telesco didn't bring him back. So I feel like unless you're playing top notch, Tom Telesco is not going to re-sign you. So while Davante Diablo could be a decent linebacker, I feel like his time with the Raiders is coming to an end regardless.
Man, but I do. I'm gonna agree with Severe, man, because Luke Masterson, every time he's been out there, he's been getting embarrassed left and right. But so Davante Diablo, if you're watching this and you're hearing this, please, man, get healthy soon. But you mentioned Tom
really
Telesco.
Quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Really quick, but I also think there's a reason why the Raiders talk up Tommy Eichenberg a lot. I think that's a guy they're looking at to be the future. I see Severe shaking his head. But look, he's a rookie, but the coaching staff seems to love him. And I'm not saying he's the future, but I think they feel like he could be the eventual replacement, although he hasn't really shown that yet.
Yeah,
I think that's an understatement.
Saveer's the biggest Tommy Eichenberg fan out there, man. So he's glad that you brought.
I can tell by the reaction in his face when I mentioned him. I saw his face.
Nah, man. I don't like Tommy Eichenberg. Is that I thought that we should have taken a chance on Spencer Rattler as a developmental quarterback. I think he's a guy that has a lot of arm talent, and I would have liked to, hey, let's had a young guy to this room because Aiden O'Connell was 26 years old. So, like, he's not really he's a young in the league, but he's not a young guy. I would have liked to add another guy. Then we draft Tommy Eichenberg. The dude misses all the, like, don't even get you started. I don't even get started on that. But I think Pharaoh had a question.
No, I was just gonna say, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm with Severe, man. I wish the Raiders kind of took a chance at a QB later in the draft. I mean, I felt like, looking at AOC and Minshew, we kind of expected to see everything that we're seeing now. Like career backup, maybe low end starter. AOC, his ceiling backup, maybe low end starter, possibly. But I felt like that was just a risky gamble at the most important position on the football field. Why don't you just add talent, and you never know, let the best player beat out the spot, right? But that being said, you mentioned Tom Telesco, right? We've been having conversations here and there about Tom Telesco and his is he the right GM? And we're gonna wrap it up soon, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on Tom Telesco. Like, is he the right GM for the Raiders? Because when we look around the NFL, you see a lot of the successful teams in the NFL, they picked their GM, their first-year GMs. They picked them out. But instead, the Raiders go out and they get a guy that, is experienced, which the NFL normally doesn't do. Like, once a GM fails, like, they're like, hey, we're not taking that risk, because they know how important that general manager spot is. And once and the thing is, Tom Telesco had a 10, 11-year, so there was a big sample size, and the Raiders still went for it because they felt like experience paired with, AP's inexperience was a good combination. But what are your thoughts on Tom Telesco as a GM and your outlook on him?
So I was very lukewarm on the Tom Telesco hire. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it either. So because I felt like the Raiders you mentioned this earlier, right? The Raiders have had issues with their drafts, specifically early picks. I think Tom Telesco in that regard can help them. If you look at his draft class so far, the top of the draft, Brock Bowers, Jackson Powers-Johnson, DJ Glaze, those guys look like they could be long-term starters. So the early look at it looks pretty good. My issue with Tom Telesco is I don't think he's aggressive enough in acquiring talent. And I know people will say, well, he acquired Khalil Mack, right? But that came on a bargain, right? I believe he didn't give up earlier than a fourth rounder for that trade, and they had to pay the contract of Khalil Mack, so they had to absorb his contract. So when you're talking about the Raiders, and if they are in the middle of the pack and they have to do some maneuvering to get up in the draft for a quarterback or to get a player or free agency trade, whatever the case may be, that's where I think his blind spot is, and I don't think he's going to be aggressive enough to make that move. So unless the Raiders have a high draft pick, I worry that Tom Telesco isn't going to be, proactive enough in getting what the Raiders need at the quarterback position or other needy positions. I feel like it has to be in front of him to make that pick. Kind of like how Brock Bowers, I don't want to say fell to him, but Brock Bowers was there for him. He didn't have to move up for him. He didn't have to trade up for him. He was there available to be picked. It wasn't like Tom Telesco maneuvered the draft order to get that player. So that's my criticism. That's my concern, that if the Raiders aren't in the top 5, what are they going to do to get that franchise quarterback?
Yeah, Mo, we on the same wavelength, man. I'm thinking about that too. You thinking chess moves. You're thinking, look, at the end of the day, like the Raiders, if they're going to compete to get that wild card spot, or if they're going to compete to be, at the average this year, whatever the case may be, they're probably going to be in the 20s and the maybe top 15. And you're going to have to trade up for some of these guys, and you're going to have to be aggressive. So I agree with you 100%. Like, that's my concern with Tom Telesco. And I've talked to Charger fans, and that's what they'll say. They'll say Tom Telesco, he's just not aggressive. Even like making in-season moves, like where you need a Jack Jones to get picked up in waivers, which happened last year with who? Champ Kelly at GM, even though he was an interim. You got to be a little bit aggressive, and I think that's might be missing from him, and that's a great take. Severe, if you got any questions real quick before we
Yeah, last one real quick, man. We got to address the elephant in the room. Where's Cody White? Now, mess with you. I mean, I know you're out there in New York, in Brooklyn, and I know you probably hear it all the time, all the rumblings, whether it be Davante to the Jets or Aaron Rodgers to the Raiders. And I've seen you've made your thoughts on that very clear on Twitter. But can you put that on record right here on the 50-50 show? What are your thoughts on either a Davante to the Jets trade or Aaron Rodgers to the Raiders trade?
I don't think either happens unless on the Davante side, and I said this last night, Monday night, that unless the Raiders start losing consecutive games leading up to the November 5th trade deadline, I don't see Davante Adams moving anywhere. Simply because if you're the Raiders and you're 3-6, right, then you're looking at, okay, Davante is going to be 32 years old in December. His timeline is not going to match the Raiders' timeline if they're going to have to do some rebuilding here. Now, I know he says all the right things publicly. I want to be a Raider. I'm tired of these trade rumors, but you have to look at it from a GM perspective. You have to look at it from the long term. But as I just mentioned to you guys, Tom Telesco is not aggressive. So I don't think Tom Telesco is going to go out there shopping Davante Adams, even if they are 3-6. The offer is going to have to come to him. Look at his Charger days. I remember that, there were times where rumors are they're going to keep Mike Williams. Are they going to trade Keenan Allen? He kept those guys. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen were Chargers up until he left, and the new regime came in. So he kept those older wide receivers despite the trade rumors. Because I remember years and years of trade rumors about Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and they resigned him. So I don't think Tom Telesco is going to actively shop him. But if the Raiders have a poor record by around November 5th, it may not leave him much choice. But I will say this. Just because Davante Adams may be available for trade if Tom Telesco changes his mind, I don't think necessarily he goes to the Jets. I'm in New York, as you mentioned. The Jets coaching staff is not a great coaching staff. Nathaniel Hackett is a disaster. They want to run him out of town right now. You talk about Luke Getsy as an offensive play caller. Jets fans are ready to shoot Nathaniel Hackett to the moon after that loss to the Denver Broncos 10-9 in the rain. So if you're Davante Adams and you're looking at the Jets, I know he has Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. How long is he going to be there? And that Jets coaching staff is now teetering on a lot of criticism. You look at the Jets situation, for me, if I'm Davante Adams, I'm looking at that, and I don't necessarily want any parts of that. I'd rather go to a different team that has a coaching staff that's secure in place, because let me tell you, if the Jets don't make the playoffs or they're a one-and-done disappointment, that coaching staff may be out of there, and they may be looking at a rebuild. So that's not necessarily an appealing, situation for a wide receiver who may want some more playoff appearances, may want a Super Bowl appearance. I don't think it happens necessarily to the Jets, even if he is traded. But as of right now, I don't see a trade happening. As long as the Raiders stay competitive, as long as they stay in the playoff picture, I don't see a Davante Adams trade. Adam Schefter came out and said the Raiders rebuke trade offers in the offseason, and right now he doesn't see a trade with Davante Adams at all.
Man, I just feel like, man, everybody's trying their hardest to speak it into existence. They're like all the way from the up. And it's not like Davante has said anything. It's not like the Raiders have done anything. It's just I understand why, because they see this highly paid wide receiver. The Raiders haven't necessarily been winning. So they're like, oh, okay, this is a trade candidate. And then, everybody's trying to pair him with Aaron Rodgers. So I get it 100%. But Mo, yeah, go ahead.
One thing really quick about Davante Adams that a lot of people are not talking about. The last 2 years of his deal, there's no guaranteed money on it. So regardless of what happens with Davante Adams, he's going to get a new deal, whether it's with the Raiders or another team. So that's going to be another aspect of these trade rumors is if someone wants to acquire him, they're probably going to have to rework his contract. And if the Raiders keep him, they're going to have to rework his contract because he's not playing on a deal with no guaranteed money.
No, for sure. And I don't even know what would that deal look like for Davante at this stage of his career, with all these wide receivers getting paid. They're getting paid. But the young receivers are getting paid. For a guy like Davante, I'm sure he feels like I'm the best receiver, so I need to get the best deal. Especially for the Raiders, he's going to look at it from a perspective of like, well, the Raiders aren't necessarily winning, and I'm like the best thing going. That's the ego talking. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I'm just saying, man, he's probably going to win a big-time contract. But we'll see, man. Mo, It's been a great show, man. I appreciate you coming through, man. Let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
Silver and Black Today with my co-host Scott Branson. We air on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. Bleacher Report Lives are on Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. I'm also on post games, TNT Sports Tonight with my guy Coy Wire, who played for the Bills and the Falcons. Mondays and Thursdays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'm also writing at Sportsnot, and as a lot of people, as you see behind me, Bleacher Report, I'm writing for the entire league, giving honest Raider takes, because a lot of these Raider takes are outdated, biased. I'm going to give it to you 100. I'm going to give it to you straight over at Bleacher Report. Appreciate you,
man. I appreciate that, man, and that's why we have you on, because we know, we like your takes, we like where you're coming from. It's not too biased. It lets us know the truth. We're always looking for the truth on this show, man. So we appreciate you coming through. Everybody, stay tuned. We'll still be going live and going on with the show, man. But salute to Mo. Let's give him a round of applause, man. Oh, we head out of here, man. Appreciate you. All right, y'all.
Man, great interview with Mo, the great Mo Moton, Midtime Mo, man. Appreciate him coming through, man. Really insightful. And look, hey, he was so insightful, like he wanted to go out his way to point out the fact that the last 2 years of Davante's deal, and this is before the whole, Davante requesting a trade happened. But he did point out that the last 2 years of his deal are not guaranteed, so automatically a deal will be coming at the end of the season, whether it's with the Raiders or not. And at this point, we know it's not going to be with the Raiders. Man, if y'all joining us, man, hey, y'all know what it is, man.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider. The realest show for Raider.
Okay, that's the long version, but make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody coming through. We still got a great show coming up. We're going to get into the flag on the play in just a second. As you can see, I was really optimistic, and I'm like over here saying like the media, they're just trying to make something out of nothing. You see me trying to be positive, but guess where that got me? It got me
man. The universe punished you for that one, bro. For real.
And I forgot to make a point, and I was kind of leading to it, was that Davante Adams decided to do these weekly appearances on the K Adam podcast show every week, which now, like I said to begin the show, we got to question everything. And I think that's one of the things that I'm looking at. Like, I think is very strategic on Davante Adams' part, because now moving forward, he's going to have a stage for himself to talk whatever he wants to talk, whether it's about the team, so speaking to Severe's point earlier in the show about like we need to find a trade partner as soon as possible. Maybe the Raiders need to get this deal going, because we can't have Davante doing weekly shows and saying, just talking a whole lot of mess and just pretty much a distraction for the team, which obviously we don't want. We don't want drama, even though the Raiders for some reason find a way to have drama every year. Is crazy. But that being said, let's actually get into one of our favorite segments.
Personal foul.
Flag on the play. Flag on the play, man. If y'all just joining us, this is pretty much a segment where we just talk about any issues that we have going on around the NFL, including the Raiders. Obviously, the automatic biggest flag that we'll put on here, it doesn't go without saying, is Davante Adams. You deserve to be the flag on the play this week, with you literally lying on the K Adams show, saying that this is not coming from anybody. It's not coming from me. It's everything is coming outside. It is coming from you. It's coming from you, Davante. Yeah. Lying to Raider Nation like that, that's crazy. But
for a year, it's been coming from Davante, bro. For a year.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's why the media felt so confident to talk about not just looking at his contract, because I did it too. Last season, I looked at Davante. I'm like, man, he's getting paid a whole lot of money, and it's not guaranteed. I'm like, man, the Raiders might have to either give him a new deal, or they're gonna have to pay him that money, and I'm not sure if the Raiders are gonna do that at that point. So I kind of even implied, hey, maybe Davante might not be here longer because his quarterback's not here anymore and all that type of stuff. But you know what? I try to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it is what it is. Let's move it along. Our flag on the play this week, man. Christian Wilkins was held. And people were trying to act like that it didn't happen last game. It happened at a crucial time in a game where Deshaun Watson was able to get away from a blitz. It looked like a called blitz by Patrick Graham, and he rolled out. And apparently, Christian Wilkins got held, which bought him more time. Rolled out, hit Amari Cooper, which could have been a huge touchdown. I think they would have went up at that. I
think so. I think they would have went up.
Yeah, it's 20-16. It would have been 23-20 at that point. If the play went, I was about to cry, man, because I'm just saying. The Raiders always have these heartbreaking losses, man. Like, golly. But let's actually take a look at the play, and we'll have Severe give you the play-by-play. And let me go ahead and put this on the screen real quick. And they're calling it the worst call of the day. That's what they're calling it, man. It's crazy, man.
It's insanity.
Right here. So flag on a play right here, as you can see. Let's see if
flag on a play. So you see it's 20-16. It's in the fourth quarter. So you see that clearly. I think that's the center right there. He's blocking Christian Wilkins, and you don't see it from the other angle. But
I'm gonna replay
his jersey pulled. Yeah.
So you see that's Christian
Wilkins tries to go there. He's pulling his jersey. He's keeping him from moving that direction. And he's still pulling, and then he finally lets go. So he's keeping him from moving in that direction, allowing Deshaun Watson to kind of get out there, have that lane. And look at the guy. Anytime you see the jersey pull like that, there's automatic flag. And I think even the ref said it on the telecast. They're going to call that flag all day. Now, just because they're so used to the Raiders not getting those types of calls, they say it's a horrible call. But what ticks me off is that people are acting like there is some conspiracy out there to help the Raiders win. Like, since when was this ever a thing? Since when was like, we're going to make sure we give the Raiders favorable calls to help them win. You can really see it on this angle even a little bit better, where he's like literally pulling his jersey, keeping them from moving. And, he finally lets go at the last second once kind of the pass has already been completed. So
I think what it is that I think people were confused because he kind of did it with his opposite hand. So it made it, usually you see it from the other hand, like when people hold, and I think it was from the other hand. It made it seem like he wasn't holding, or there was a ticky-tacky call, but it was a hold. I mean, at the end of the day, it was a hold. But they try to act, social media try to act like it was the worst call. Browns fans were upset. They're like, oh, my God. But, the reality is Browns suck, and they lost, and they just need to just at the end of the day, that's what it is, man. They lost. Flag on the play.
Hold that L, man. Just hold that L.
Yeah, definitely hold that L. Definitely hold that L. It is what it is, man. Flag on the play goes to everybody that thought that wasn't a hold. It was definitely a hold. Definitely hold. But let's actually move on to the second flag on the play. And this one is kind of interesting because this has something to do with I was about to say AR-15. He changed his number. AR-5, Anthony Richardson, quarterback for the Colts, and how they handled his injury, which Emmanuel Acho kind of pointed out on social media. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on the screen, and we'll just take a look at what he was talking about. And it's kind of interesting because, like, it makes it seem like the team kind of purposely kind of put him in a position to hurt himself. Like, if he was clearly limping and then they called a QB run play, you're not protecting your quarterback at that point. So let me go ahead. So as let me go ahead and share this here so everybody can see what I'm talking about. So let's see here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me know if you guys can see it here. So Emmanuel Acho, he tweets out, "I can't believe the Colts did this. Anthony Richardson left the game with a hip injury at the 5:30 mark. He returns limping at 2 minutes later. And the very first play is a QB run. Richardson again gets hurt and leaves the game to go to the locker room. At that point, Joe Flacco probably comes in the game, and the Colts end up winning that game. that being said, like we call it a flag because, like, in my opinion, the coach has got to protect the player. Like, especially the most important player on the team is your quarterback. And let's be honest, Anthony Richardson has been injury prone so far in his career. So for them to just have him do a QB run play after he's clearly limping, do you think that? And I don't want to imply this, but do you think that was on purpose, or you think that was just mismanaged mistake, whatever you want to call it? How do you see it, Severe?
Yeah, I don't want to put him on him and say it was on purpose. I think it was just a bad decision, a bad play call. You know, like not only do coaches have to protect their players, but they have to protect them from themselves sometimes, right? You don't send a guy that's obviously limping, that has a history of injury already in his young career. He missed damn near the entire season last year, and that's how we ended up with Gardner Minshew. You know, like he missed most of that season, and you know the play that the Raiders saw from Gardner Minshew, that kind of intrigued them to sign him here. But you have to protect your guy. You drafted him. What was number 4 overall?
Yeah, number 4.
So he's supposed to be the future of your franchise. You got to protect him from himself. You know, like you see he's hurt. Don't put him. And it's obviously a QB run. It's not like a situation where AR is out there and he doesn't see anything, and he, you know, hey, I'm about to scramble and make a play. It looked like it was an option play where he either you know he like, you know, basically a option handoff where he either hands it to the running back, he reads that defensive end, he hands it to the running back, or he keeps it himself. He made the read and he ran and took off himself and got hurt in the process. So you can't put your QB in that kind of situation.
Definitely flag on a play, man. I thought that was tough. And the Emmanuel Acho, you know, I'm not the hugest fan of. Sometimes he tries to sensationalize everything, trying to make something out of nothing. But he does have a point there. That is a mistake by the coaching staff, in my opinion. That's crazy if they knowingly did that. If he was hurt, they knowingly did it, and I'm not sure. I don't know. It's a tough situation, but we got to call a flag where it needs to be called. Because if I was a Colts fan, I'll definitely be upset. I'm not sure right now how they feel about Anthony Richardson because he has kind of been struggling this year. And, you know, Joe Flacco kind of came out. Hey, Joe Flacco is having a career resurgence. I mean, he's with the Browns, came off the bench, took them to the playoffs, middle of the season, you know, made their Browns offense look a whole lot better because, you know, Deshaun Watson is you know, like at this point, he's garbage, man. I'm not going to lie. Like, he is not the same player that he used to be. He literally was a top 5 QB, you can argue, at what was it, 2014? No, not 2014. That was like 2015.
He got drafted 2017. So like 2018, 2019 season.
2019?
Around that time. Yeah, around that time.
Man,
2019.
he was playing on a bad team, but he was balling. He was one of the best QBs, but with the off-field issues, I feel like that kind of destroyed his career. Just felt like that was just too much of a distraction, and that was just on him. That's his fault. So it is what it is. But yeah, definitely flag on a play with the Colts, man, having their quarterback get hurt like that. Let's move it along, man. We got people in the chat coming in. Hey, let's address this real quick. And I appreciate everybody coming through and leaving a comment there. Hey, we appreciate the support. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We are going live on all of our channels, both our channels, I should say. But let's address this, man, because this is something common that we've been seeing because we were disgusted or upset that the Raiders didn't get a quarterback in the draft, and we drafted Brock Bowers, and we were so shocked by it because we seen that was not a player that we would expect the Raiders to draft based off the needs that we had. But Raider 33 says, y'all were dead wrong about Bowers. We didn't say he was a bad player. We didn't call him trash. Right. We didn't say that he was going to be a bust. We just felt like, you know what, based off where the Raiders are at with their team and their needs, we felt like they could have went a different direction. The fact that it's working out is cool. And on top of that, it all makes sense now that Davante is on his way out. And now we got a guy that, from what we've seen so far, looks like a guy that we can feature in offense. So, you know, hey, we're happy with it. I'm sure you guys are, but we never said that Bowers was not going to be a good player or anything like that. It was just we wanted a quarterback, and I still feel the same way. We still need a quarterback. If I had to choose between a quarterback and a tight end, I would want a quarterback. I'm sure Raider 33, you would agree with that statement as well. But I'm still happy with Bowers. He looks like a pretty good player so far. And if he continues to man, he has Gronkowski calling him like, man, he's calling him saying he's going to be better than him. You know what I mean? As a pass catcher, which is, high praise coming from an all-time tight end like that. So much respect to him.
Yeah. Now, facts. I think people, they can't separate if you point out a player's weaknesses. Like if you don't say they're just the best at everything, said he sucked. No, I pointed out his criticisms. And so far through the season, outside of the contested catches that he had in week one, we had 3 of them, those criticisms have held, right? I really haven't seen him separate a bunch against man coverage. He hasn't been the greatest blocker. I think he had a good week last week. When he's been at his most effective has been when he's running essentially wide open. It's those criticisms held. But at the same time, I also said what you didn't mention is that I said he was the 3rd best pass catching prospect in that draft behind Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors only. So, that just because I point out somebody's weaknesses doesn't mean they're a bum. I point out, areas of concern translating to the next level doesn't mean they're bad. I do that with every single player.
Right.
People just didn't want to hear it with him because he was supposed to be God gifts the tight end. And
you know what it was too? I think they seen the disappointment. We were disappointed. Like why when we see Michael Penix? Why when we see Michael Penix get drafted, we were like, ugh. It killed it just killed our whole, energy. It's because we were so all in on a quarterback and all that. And I understand quarterbacks come out every year and all that, but right now we don't have that quarterback position. And if you look at all the good teams, the teams that are, going to be competing for Super Bowl, they got one. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
And now with this DA, and not only with the Davante thing, that doesn't make Brock Bowers look like a great pick, right? But the fact that Ja'Cory Bennett, low key, he's been our best corner this year, right? He's been playing better than Jack Jones.
Sir.
So, and then we see DJ Glaze. Like DJ Glaze, he's out there. He's already better than Thayer Munford, in my opinion. So the fact that we were able to still address some of those other huge concerns later in the draft, I think that makes that Brock Bowers pick look even better, especially with the Davante development. We still missing that quarterback. Asking me still do I want Brock Bowers or traded for Michael Penix? I'm taking the traded for Michael Penix all day. But with everything that's happened, with Davante, Ja'Cory, and with DJ Glaze, I think that that Brock Bowers pick rather is looking better and better every day.
Yep, facts. And shout out to Raider Smoke 89, man. Hey, up and coming Raider content creator. Make sure to go over to his channel and subscribe to his channel. Hopefully we'll do a post game show soon, man. My guy. I was able to meet him at the Chargers game, man. Good dude. And he says, hurts to see my rogue EPA bro go out like this. Yeah, Davante, man. Look, hey, Davante wanted this. This is what he wanted. He came here for Derek Carr, and Derek Carr got traded. Once that happened, he went through a whole, list of different types of quarterbacks he had to play with, and mediocre quarterbacks, if we're being honest, like, Jarrett Stidham backup, Jimmy G, should he still be in the NFL? If we're being honest, just the way he looked when he was out there with the Raiders, he looked hurt. He didn't look like a guy that shouldn't be out there at that quarterback position. And then you obviously got Aiden O'Connell, 4th round pick, didn't know what he was doing or what he was getting himself into his first year in the league, where he clearly admitted to Brian Hoyer, who actually said this. He said, I did not expect to play this year. He told Brian Hoyer this. I did not expect to play this year. He was not ready. He didn't know that this was going to happen, which is understandable. Rookie 4th round pick, most likely they're not going to play. And then now, he's playing with Gardner Minshew and, Gardner Minshew. This Gardner Minshew. It's his, career backup. Like, he's a guy that's played with an all-time, quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. So, I think he's been planning this. He knows that it will be a bad look if he came out and demanded a trade and all this. But from all the reports now we're knowing, everything that we've been hearing from the media was coming from Davante. Let's be clear right now. This has not been coming from the Raiders. It's been coming from Davante. And then slowly but surely, you got AP. I don't blame him, man. He was like, he liked that post when he said Davante's played his last snap. I don't blame him. Shit, at this point, like I really don't blame him. If it's true that they approached the Raiders about a change of scenery last year, and then also thinking about wanting to be traded the last few weeks, and then finally coming to the team on Monday, which Davante did not say on the K Adams show. He did not say that. He made it seem like everything was good to go. Nothing is coming from me, and all this noise is every week. They seem to always have the noise. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. Man, he got caught red-handed again. Raiders Smoke with another super chat. I like this right here. Let's move it along, man. I'm tired of talking about Davante. He says, let's give Getsy some credit. Minus the last couple of minutes of the game, he put our playmakers in a position to make plays. Turner, Tucker, Myers. Facts. 100%, man. Like, hey, Getsy was in his bag.
Bowers too, man. Bowers had that jet sweep. I mean, that's something we really haven't seen, and that's something he did at Georgia, and that's something like we weren't previously doing. Now, is there a certain someone on the field, a certain Taco Bell eating wide receiver that maybe it wouldn't allow us to?
He will remain nameless. He'll remain
name. Maybe that was a possibility why we didn't do it earlier. So, but now, like I said, everything opens up a little bit more. We're not going to be as good because like you can lose a player of that caliber and not be good. But the fact that I think Luke Getsy, it looked like he had a little bit more freedom, like a little bit of a weight was off his shoulders. Like, all right, dang, now I can really get in my bag and do some of the stuff I want to do. Like his use of motion in this game was great. Like some of the designs on the runs were really creative. Like he was really doing some cool stuff. The use of switch releases with some of the guys, like he was doing some real cool stuff. So, and hopefully that continues.
We got to have a stock up, stock down segment, man, because whose stock is down right now? Dylan Lobby.
Yeah, bro.
What happened to Dylan Lobby, man? Like he was supposed to be active. I think he was active during the game, but he didn't get no carries at all. Tyreek McAllister got carries over him. Man, that was a guy that, a lot of Raider Nation, and I think, just based off the things that we're hearing from the offseason and training camp, like he was a guy that we felt like was probably going to be featured a little bit or at least like, he would be involved as a third down back. But so far, like, I don't know if he hasn't won the confidence of the coach and staff, or he needs to work. They're trying to have him earn everything. Yeah. But right now, Dylan Lobby's stock is definitely down. But hopefully we'll at some point we'll see him. Because
want to say who else stock it down? Why you talking about that?
Yeah.
It was down so much that he was actually cut and put on the practice squad. But our boy Ramel Keaton, who was on the 53, and I think he was cut. I think he was cut to make a room for, I don't know if it was Sam Webb or for Caleb Vine, but he was cut and placed on the practice squad. So he's another guy, right? He's not, of course, he's not going to replace Davante. He might not even see any run, but he's a guy that may get called up to the active roster to kind of fill that void and have a little bit more depth at wide receiver.
Yeah, and I think they picked him up again, right? I believe they picked him up.
I think they sent him to the practice squad. I don't know if he's back up on the 53 yet or not.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, if Davante he might have a chance to get on the roster if Davante is on his way out. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Busy Cyborg, man, is out here, man, throwing shots left and right. He says, so who's a bigger diva, DA or AP? I'm going DA. Or DA.
Oh, DA. I mean, AP has some stuff, has a little diva to him. AP refers to himself in the third person. He refers to himself as AP. I talked about it last year. Last year before we hired him. I was like, yo, you start calling yourself AP, like, you got a little bit of diva in you, but come on, bro. It's not even a question, bro. The Davante, man, is, like Davante's put it all out there on Front Street, man. He's like time and time again. Davante does. He seems like he throws rocks and he hides his hands. Like, he'll send his people out there to to consummate these trades or to inquire about getting traded. And then when asked about it, he's like, man, like I want to be here. This is exactly where I want to be. Like, I don't know why you guys are asking me these questions, but like we're asking these questions because behind the scenes, the machinations are being put in place for you to make your way out of Las Vegas. So, like it's just all it's dirty business, man.
I'm trying something new real quick, man. It's that time, y'all. Notable quotables, man. This week we got some good notable quotables this week, man. And obviously we had to make some last minute adjustments to notable quotables this week with the recent news of Davante, the requesting the trade. But we're talking about AP. Let's start with AP. And AP had a great quote last week leading up to Sunday's win, and I really liked it. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip real quick, and let me know your thoughts on this real quick. Hold on 1 second here. I just had it up. Let's see. Boom, right here.
How would you describe that learning curve going from from change this year?
Yeah, we're watching it firsthand. You guys are seeing it, right? It's a learning curve, and we're still going through the process. And at the end of the day, you can be a scheme team, you can be a player-driven team, you can be a what works team, and we need to become what works for the Raiders.
How would you describe that learning curve going from
100% agree, and guess what? It led to a W. They were a team on this Sunday that what works, and I think I'm gonna put that as a soundbite. We're gonna play this all year long. You got what works. You definitely got to be a team that does what works. Literally, the game-winning play was from an undrafted free agent rookie, Snowden, gets a sack to end the game. Patrick Graham throwing all types of exotic blitzes.
Yeah,
and the Raiders find a way. The defense were able to. It was definitely a team win. So I think I agree with this 100%. And I think that comment just went through the entire team. I think that was a it just represented. I think that's a comment that you probably could talk about Luke Getsy, who found a way to call a great game and put his players in the best position to succeed. Use the speed on offense. Then obviously you got the defense. You got players like Tyree who didn't look like a guy that shouldn't be out there. Like, he was actually playing well. At times he even looked like he timed a snap. A lot of people talking about a lot of people talking about his get off, but he was able to get in there. I think they said he finished with like 5 pressures. You know what I mean? So, hey, look, Tyree was out there making plays as well. The defense, obviously, you mentioned Jacorian Bennett. So a lot of guys were out there and they were doing what works, and I agree with that statement right there, man. Shout out to AP for that. Definitely a big bounce back win. 1 second, let me get into this real quick. And Cyborg, shout out, Busy Cyborg. You kind of called it earlier. You said it all started in the preseason. I think it was before that, but this is an example of the AP and Davante Adams kind of bumping heads, and an example of that happened in the preseason, and we called it a flag on a play on Davante for it was a bad look. It was a bad look when the star receiver is saying that he doesn't want to play and he doesn't show up to the game, he doesn't play, right? And they try to cover it up and say that he was actually hurt. But I'm going to go ahead and play the actual clip from that whole incident. So let me go ahead and play that real quick. Oh, man, I thought I had it up. My bad. Let's see.
Yeah. But, I think that comment by AP has a lot of layers now. It's like even more revealing the fact that, I think that scheme thing obviously was pointing at Getsy, but I think now it's starting to be kind of, made clear that when he's talking about we're not a, player-driven team, that was probably a shot at Davante. And, when he talked about business decisions, I'm sure Davante was one of those guys he was referring to. Davante probably didn't take it the right way.
Right.
And then we have what happened today. So it's a lot of stuff. Like, everything is starting to come into focus, man. Everything is starting to come into focus. It's all starting to make a lot more sense. The pieces of the puzzle are coming together. And what we're seeing the bigger picture, man, and we're seeing that this was set in motion a long time ago, and now it's kind of at its apex, and it's all down here from now.
All right, so real quickly here, this is basically this. If you guys remember this, I'm sure you guys remember this. When AP during the preseason, he said that if you're not hurt, you're playing this season game. The media goes up to Davante, say how do you feel about playing the preseason game? Sometimes the media is like they be starting mess, but Davante was like, I've never played in the preseason since my how many years in the league, and we found out that was actually a lie. Like, I don't know if he forgot about it, but he did play in a preseason game when he was with the Packers. He made it seem like he never played, or it was like a long time ago. But that being said, here's the clip of Davante Adams and AP kind of going at it.
Situation with the quarterback, and the starters playing on Saturday and maybe even this Saturday. Do you want to be out there? Is this a chance that you would like to be out there on the field and play?
I mean, I'm sure we'll have some sort of conversation, but I don't think I played in a preseason game since 16. So, I mean, we practice the right way. We go about it and get on the same page with the quarterbacks. And obviously a little bit of, a few reps could help, but just based off of the risk, it's not on my mind. It's something that I'm looking forward to. I look forward to the games to, watch the guys go at it and watch the team get better and all the things that go in with that. But definitely not. If I'm choosing, I'm not playing.
One guy that we've been trying to give.
So that was interesting because look, if you guys remember, like, man, look, we're gonna question everything. Davante missed 2 weeks when his wife had a child. He missed 2 weeks. Now, that being said, I get it. It's a big moment, family, whatever. You got to do what you got to do. But I've seen situations where players, they're there with their family. That obviously their significant other has a child, but they come back.
Madison played a game. He played a game while his wife was in labor. He was playing a game while his wife was in labor.
He took 2 weeks off. He took 2 weeks off in training camp where he could have played valuable reps with, Minshew, who was named the starter eventually. Like, that's a lot of reps. So that tells you, like, Davante, wasn't all in a little bit there because he's like, I don't care, at this point, like, because he wasn't all in. And this is AP responding to the media.
Starters will play this week. Davante last night said he'd choose not to if it was up to him. Will there be a conversation, or do you think that it's kind of his point in his career would be up to him?
No. If you're healthy, you'll play.
You said starter.
And guess what happened? A couple days later, or a day later, I think it was that Thursday practice, we found out that Davante nicked something, like he was hurt or whatever the case may be. And then they found a way for him to not play the game, and Brock Bowers didn't play that game as well, and then the rest is history. They try to brush it under the rug, like, oh, it's not a big deal. But, like, look, we got to question everything. Every little thing is just an example of, like, hey, you're kind of milking it a little bit. I think that now looking back at it, taking 2 weeks off out of training camp, it's not like you didn't have the baby.
Exactly, bro. Like,
he made it seem like he was having a baby.
Bro, hey, go there, be with your kid, but like, it's like you don't need to miss a whole 2 weeks, bro. Like, hey, go there, hey, get the family situated. Not like you, like, oh my God, I really got to be here. Like, I have nobody to help my wife take care. Like, bro, you have a team of people.
Exactly,
like, you have a team of people.
Exactly.
So as far as I know, his parents are still there. I know he's talking about his grandparents. I don't know what her family situation is with her parents and her grandparents, but I'm sure they were there to support as well. Hey, get a couple days in. Hey, I want to bond. It's my firstborn son. I want to be there, bond with him. Get back to at some of the most pivotal time of the year when you're really trying to build this chemistry, build a new offense, with the new quarterback, like all the new offensive line, new head coach, new play, all of this stuff, new play caller, all of these things. You have to build this, and you only get so many reps. And because of how the NFL has structured your ability and how many hours you can go, how many padded practices there are, like no more two-a-days anymore. So those days that you're missing are very valuable days. And what you do in the off season, that sets you on your trajectory for the rest of the season. So if you're not having a good offseason, if you're not building that rapport in the offseason, that it's going to be difficult to get on the same page during the regular season. It's all based on trust. And we see some of the biggest miscues of the season have been between who? Gardner and Davante not being on the same page. And some of that it leads directly back to these are important time on task that I could have had with this guy that I don't have that I lost because I was back home, with my wife and my family. If you want your wife and family there, bro, hey, you have time to do that. You have some of the weekends, you have days. Hey, fly out there during the weekend. Like you don't got no money, fly out there during the weekend, spend some time with them. Hey, I got to be back by Monday at this time. Get back to it's not like it's a long flight. It's like a 5-hour. You're like a 5-hour flight from LA to Vegas. You can do that. You can get that set up quickly. Hop on a PJ. Shit, you got people that got that money.
Bearded Goon says, how many games has it been without a win against us, Donkey? What are you talking about? We're on a winning streak. Are you a Donkey fan or Broncos fan or whatever?
No. I think he's talking to a Bronco fan, calling him Donkey. How many games has it been without a win against us?
My bad.
Comma Donkey.
Comma Donkey. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Me says AP losing the room. I don't know.
Davante, but I mean,
I don't know, man. I don't. What makes you say that? I mean, they responded after those business decision comments.
Yeah.
AP stood on that, and the players that didn't play, we got to question why they didn't play. We kind of know why Jack Jones. I think Jack Jones kind of led the way. Everybody was on social media talking about how he had didn't have the best effort, and it was caught on film and whatever, and everybody talked about that. But he took it in stride after the first round. After the first quarter, he sat, and the rest is history. Davante didn't play. Michael Mayer didn't play.
Yeah.
We were gonna put Michael Mayer trade speculation as flag on a play, but after the Davante situation, you gotta question everything. Why is where is Michael Mayer? Hopefully everything all is well. Everything's good with him, his family, and all that. But at this point, is he one of the business decisions? Is he seeking a trade, or is what's going on? We won't know. Yeah. Well, time will tell. But we got to question. We got to question everything. It's all visual. It's all adding up. It all adds up, man. I'm telling you. From it all starts where Derek Carr, his quarterback, gets let go. Starts there. You can go to the Netflix receiver documentary. You can go to preseason where he's like, hey, I've never played in the preseason since 2016. AP's like
2017, 2018.
He played 2017, 2018. So he even lied. I don't think, does he know he be lying? He be lying, bro.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. It's what it is.
It's wild, bro. It's so wild, bro. It's just that, like, in terms of that comment about AP losing the locker room, I think those guys responded. And like he for damn sure didn't lose Jackson Powers Johnson. This dude is the happiest motherfucker on earth. Like, I ain't never seen somebody so damn happy. Like, he looks, every time you see him, that dude he's bought all the way in. And in terms of Max, people were speculating about Max, right? In the midst of all this news coming out, what did Max make it clear? Max made it clear he's playing against the Broncos. High ankle sprain and all. He's made it clear he's going to be playing this upcoming game. High ankle sprain is not an injury that it's one of the longest injuries to rehab from. Like, generally like 4 to 6 weeks at least, sometimes longer. So the fact that he's back out there the very next week, I think that's a show of solidarity with not only AP but the Raiders organization as a whole. So
and I heard
I don't think AP is losing them yet.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but I think I seen something on, I think in his podcast. Shout out to Max in his podcast. He was saying that he's going to try to play this week. So Max, he doesn't want to miss any games. He's all in. He is all in. If y'all want to buy a jersey, man, buy a Max Crosby jersey, man. Just buy. Y'all looking to buy a jersey, just that'd be a nice little investment. But at the end of the day, if you really want to play it safe, just buy like a throwback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just if you want to really play it safe, because
get you a Bo Jackson. On a side note, I do have a Darren Waller and Davante Adams jersey for sale. Yeah, hit me up. Size large. Hit me up, man. I got
hit up Severe, man, on social, man. He got y'all. Bearded Goon says, do y'all think we need to switch backs or stick with Zamir? I think that we should roll with the hot hand. And that goes back to AP's comment. I will make that a soundbite. That's a promise. I'm going to make that a soundbite. You got to do what works. And what works right now is Madison. He's playing well. He's familiar with the system. He's running the ball well. He's breaking tackles. You got it. Hey, right now it should be the Madison. I think the future back of this offense might not be on this team. It might be a guy that they draft, or it might be a free agent guy. I mean, Jordan, how do you feel about that running back with San Francisco? He's a free agent.
Jordan Mason?
He's his own back. I mean,
he's
he fits
balling too. But that's why I tell these people, bro.
But I don't want to pay a running back though. At the same time,
I don't want to pay a running back. I don't want to pay a running back either. But what I'm saying, you can find these backs. That's why I was so adamant about, like, bro, I'm not paying Josh Jacobs his money. I'm not doing it because you can find these backs. You just have to have the scouting department, find you the right guys that fit your system. You can find these backs. And know what else I wanted? I wanted a committee system for this very reason. Zamir White, you're not getting it done. But guess what? We're in the committee system, so I don't feel obligated to give you carries. But I want to go to Madison because he's been playing better. Hey, I'm going with Madison. And guess what? Madison should be the guy getting the bulk of the carries because he's been the guy being the most effective when he got those carries. I have no problem with that. Like, if he's a better player, go with him. And Zeus is putting the ball on the ground. Hey, if you want to give Dylan Lobby some carries over Zeus, I don't have a problem with that either. Zeus putting the ball on the ground, I'm good with that. Whoever is going to be the most effective. But when you have a guy like Josh Jacobs and you're paying him $14 million a year, you really can't do that because at that point, it's like you have to give this guy the ball because you're paying a running back $14 million a year.
Hey, man, y'all funny in the chat. But I agree. I agree. But I will say this, though. Kyle Shanahan, he him and his pops, they have a history with that zone blocking running scheme, that with him, his dad working with Gary Kubiak as OC, it didn't matter what running back was in that system. They were all productive. You know what I mean? There was some, don't get me wrong, there was some Terrell Davises and Clinton Portis running backs that are super talented, but there were some guys that if you put them anywhere else, they weren't as productive, but they were just that system.
Ruben Drones.
I'm trying to think of some other running back.
What's the other guy's name? Dang.
There's some other guys.
All of them too.
Shout out to the chat, man. If y'all can remember some Mike Shanahan running backs that no name running backs were the forgotten.
What's the
running
fullback?
backs.
The big fullback one. Dang, I forgot the dark skin one. That was full. I forgot my guy's name.
Yeah, man.
I forgot my guy's name.
The chat will come through for us. The chat will come through.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mike was Mike something. Mike something. Not Mike. I'm about to say Mike Allstar. It's not Mike Allstar.
Damn, Mike Jones. No, I'm playing.
Who? Wait, 1, 2, 3, oh.
Yeah, says, man, JJ waiting for a contract on a parking lot with Crosby. That was bad management. It's tough, man. It's tough because look, I do.
The chat got it. Mike Anderson was the one, and Olandis Gary. That's what I was thinking about. That's the other guy, Olandis Gary.
And these are guys that were, if anywhere else, they weren't productive. But that system they had it was just one. It was Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan. They just know what to do when it comes to they know how to identify their running back that fits their system, and it is what it is. Because even Mostert and I think did they end up signing the other? They had a few running backs that they try to go anywhere else, but they haven't been productive. Mostert, he can't stay healthy.
The one that went to the Bills, too. I forgot his name. Dang.
Man,
I forget his name.
That should tell you everything we got to know. Like, no name running backs that they're productive with the 49ers, they're productive with the Broncos back in the day, and they go somewhere else and now they're not productive. So That could be an exception to the rule, but I think at the end of the day, I think we got to figure out that running back room, because if we don't have now, we take away Davante, it makes it that much harder on offense. So I feel like, hey, if we're gonna run the football, at least let's get someone talented back there to run the ball. But we'll see, man. Hey, right now, to just answer the question earlier, definitely Madison. Madison should be getting the ball for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. Let's move along to what's real, what's not, real quick before we wrap up the show. This is where we say a statement. You guys react to it by letting us know if it's real or not, as well as us. We'll react to it and say that it's real or not. So the first statement is this game, the Browns game that the Raiders just won, will be a turning point in the career of Tyree Wilson. Is that real or is it not?
Man, I want to say it's real, but I got to say not, man. I got to see more than a few flashes. I got to see more than one game. I got to see him put week to weeks back together before I say this is a turning point. This could just be a flash in the pan, and we've seen that kind of happen before, where a guy, he flashes real quick, and then that flash is never to be seen again. So I got to say not. Yeah,
I'm gonna say not too. If I hope was the answer, I would say I hope, but this is what's real, what's not. So I'm gonna say not. It's not like he was out there dominating. It was not like he was out there. He didn't have like a 5 sacks game where I'm like, oh my God, this Tyree is gonna be the next phenom
throwing dudes
pass
off
rusher.
of him. Like,
yeah. It's not like that happened, but he was better. He looked like he looked improved. And hopefully he can build off that, and he can change a lot of people's mind, including us, as far as like him being a guy that can complement Max Crosby, especially hopefully, man, because it's going to be tough, because that's our only. Hey, to be honest with you, it's him and a bunch of role players that's going to be supporting Max Crosby on the other side. To be honest with you.
Now, facts, and I think this was a baby step. It was a baby step in the right direction, but hey. He's making progress in the right direction. But one thing I did want to bring up, though, one thing I did want to bring up, because we all talk about like Malcolm Kuntz and how big of a loss Malcolm Kuntz was. But you peep, right? I think before that game and then after that game, you see Jack Jones, and I want to say, was it Jacorian Bennett? Who were they rocking, right? Who shirts were they rocking?
Marcus Epps. I was gonna say Mike Epps, but I said Marcus Epps.
Yeah, come on, top flight security. Nah, but yeah, man. So I just think that shows, right. I think Isaiah Polamau, I think he has proven. I think in this last game, as a player, I think he's a better player. Now I don't know the communication in the secondary. I don't know how good that was. I got to look at the film to kind of see where there's some buzz. I know that for sure there was a bust on that last play where Snowden end up kind of say, well, Christian Wilkins and Snowden end up like saving us. So there was some miscommunication back there on that play. But as just a pure player, Isaiah Polamau, I think he kind of showed that he was a better just pure player than Mike. I'm about to call Mike Epps than Marcus Epps.
Yeah, he was making plays out there, man. I like him, and he's showing a natural progression. He's gotten better. You know what I mean? And I think that's a good sign. Hopefully he continue to make plays back there. And hey, guess what? If he continues to play well, then Marcus Epps is a guy that's I know the chat's going crazy. Tatum. I forgot about Tatum Bell. Super Omicron, man.
Oh dang, Tatum Bell,
bro. Hey, salute Omicron, man. Tatum Bell for sure. Yep. But yeah, a lot of people are saying not. They're like Cap, no chance. See, this is what I'm saying, man. Like, hey, Tyree's gonna have to show a little bit more before we believe that he can be a guy that's gonna be a impact player at that position. So, but hey, salute to him. He had a solid game. If y'all into PFF stats, he had the best PFF grade. Take that for however you want to take that. Hopefully, he can build off that and continue to get better. So, shout out to Tyree Wilson. Let's move it along to the next what's real, what's not. And the next what's real, what's not is Diablo is much more valuable to this defense than people give him credit for. Diablo is much more valuable to this defense than people give him credit for. Is that real or is it not? Let me know.
That look. We've all seen what Luke Masterson looks like out there, bro.
Man, he's so
We've
trash,
seen
bro.
Tommy Eichenberg out there,
my
bro.
God.
And at this point, and maybe Tommy Eichenberg, he's a rookie. Maybe later down the line he improved, but I think we saw even the game against Carolina, Spillane struggled that game. He was bad that game, like legit bad that game. So I think not having a guy like Diablo there to support him, I think that's definitely real, man. He's way more important to this team than people give him credit for. And I think the linebacker play behind him kind of shows how important he is to the team, especially that Carolina game. That Carolina game, if that didn't open your eyes to see it, I don't know what will.
Yeah. My guy Smoke with another super chat. Man, I appreciate the support, man. He says Tyree almost Wilson.
Yeah.
The Oos Palomalo was a dog. Yeah, facts, man. He had a great play, I think, on the sideline. It was a deep route where he came through and just smacked him and was able to get that ball out.
The pass, but broke up the pass.
Yeah, broke up the pass, man. Great play. At first, I was kind of scared they're going to throw the flag, but I was like, ooh, hey, the refs ain't all bad.
And then there's the other play. I want to say Deshaun Watson had broken contain. He was scrambling. Even people in the telecast was like, oh, because Palomar was like screaming up the field about to blow him up. And then you can tell Deshaun Watson kind of shifty because he shifted his body just ever so slightly not to take that full brunt of that hit because Palomar, he was looking to take him out the game. Like Jameis Winston would have been warming up on the sideline if he would have let that hit flush.
Yeah. And Morg was able to get an interception. You know what I mean? He was able to catch one, get on the interception board. He was, bro. Amari Cooper, like, what is wrong? Like, he really don't have it. Like, that's crazy, bro. That was
Alabama though, bro.
That was a terrible drop. Like, he literally hit him in the chest and it bounced off him. You think he got scared that he was gonna get hit?
I don't even think he got scared, man. It's just because, I think a lot of times guys they look upfield before securing the ball. Brock Bowers had one like that. Brock Bowers had that like the one earlier in the game where you're so worried about what am I going to do next that you don't complete the process of the catch. You're like, okay, man, I know I gotta fake this way because I know a guy's gonna be trying to come tackle me with this angle, so I got to give him a move, and then I got to get upfield, and then you just, you drop the ball. So it happens, man. But Amari's been struggling with concentration drops since Alabama. Like that was one of the knocks on him when he was coming out of college.
I look goofy, man. Nah, for real, man.
You had a good day.
PFF is a joke. Yeah, a lot of people are not big fans of PFF because it can be inconsistent at times because sometimes it don't match up with the player and how he played. And I get it. I get it 100%. But it is recognized as a stat that, man, they played on the NFL nationally televised games. They be showing their PFF stats. So, hey, if he played well, he played well. It looked like he made some plays. I don't know if he was the highest graded player. I don't know if I don't know if he had that title, but he took it. I mean, they had him as the highest graded, but we'll see. I think did Big Mike break him down? I think he said he was going to break down at Tyree, or maybe we'll have him if he didn't do it this week. Maybe we'll try to see if Tyree this Around the Shield next week this week later in the week on Around the Shield we'll probably break down maybe Tyree and what he did last Sunday. That would be nice to show everybody and see what he did if the PFF grades match. But I think Tyree did Mike break him down? I'm not sure. I think he could have sworn.
I don't know. I don't know if Mike broke him down or not. I got to check it out. But I ain't had a chance to really watch nothing, bro. To be honest with you. But I mean, the thing about PFF is that they look at like a lot of stuff that us fans don't look at. Like they'll look at pass rush win rate. So you might not necessarily get to the quarterback, but if you win on your pass rush, if you like defeat the block, they'll look at that. Okay, that was a win, even though like, hey, maybe the play went to the other side of the field, so we're not paying attention as much. But you had a win on that rep, so like they count that as for you, and it's stuff like that. So I mean,
so some people in the chat are saying not. I'm gonna say I agree with Severe on this one. I think his value to this team shows now because you can see the players behind him. Man, Masterson, I don't want to see him on the field again at all. I felt like every type of when there was a one-on-one situation with Masterson, I felt like he was missing tackles. He was Watson was embarrassing him. And I know it's Deshaun Watson, but I think Diablo with his speed and athleticism, I think he kind of gives you a nice compliment to what Spillane brings to the table. So I think people kind of underrate him, and I think that's what Chill Ray say. Somewhat real. Diablo isn't that good, but the depth behind him sucks. Okay,
yeah,
I can understand that because Diablo he isn't perfect. Diablo's way too underrated. Yeah, definitely underrated. Raider Way says not real. Play Gainer. We'll see what Gainer did. Gainer get
Bernie
some PT?
Bernie got run over Gainer. Bernie got run over Gainer.
It is what it is, man. It's gonna be
that's
tough,
what I'm saying.
though,
That's what I'm saying. Like people don't understand how important Diablo is. You see like the very next game against Carolina, even in the Ravens game, Spillane was struggling in coverage. Now he made some big plays, but he was getting beat like a drum. They beat him with the same play-action play like 3 separate times. They beat him with the same play. So Spillane's a guy that he likes to come downhill, and that's what he wants to do. So you need a guy like Diablo that has a little bit more range in the middle of the field than a guy like Masterson. And I think they complement each other well. And Diablo's presence kind of allows Spillane to kind of play freely.
Rambo Adventure says Telesco not signing any free agent defensive starters. You saying Raider free agents? Starters to extensions except Spillane and Hobbs, maybe. Man, I want him to bring back Kuntz. Bring back Kuntz on a cheap deal. You know what I mean? Bring him back. I think it was
definitely.
Hey, man, I think he fits in with the locker room. You already know that. With the coaching staff, you already know that. You know all these things about Kuntz. He just needs to get back healthy. I'm sure he's going to sign a deal that's going to be team friendly. I would put Kuntz in that extension. I would say a 1-year deal, get back to health, and then I'm sure that's what he would want to as well because he was on track to getting a big time contract, and it sucks.
Time contract
on a contract year, man. It sucks for him, man. But I would bring back Kuntz, Spillane, Hobbs. I like Marcus Epps. I think some people are down on him because he has.
Yeah,
it's tough, but maybe his value now isn't needed anymore because the guys that needed development are now developed.
Yeah, Palomalu like the real deal.
Rambo, you specifically didn't mention Morrig, so I guess you're like, hey, good riddance. You don't want to bring him back. He don't want Morrig back, but he's on a contract year as well, so we'll see how his season goes. But Morrig has kind of been in situations where there was one-on-one situations and he kind of got froze and turned into a big play. But we'll see, man. It's still a long season, and I'm sure they're gonna have plenty of time to figure that out. It wasn't an interception. That was a gift. Yeah, it was a gift,
bro. It was a gift. And
like, it was a gift.
I felt he was about to drop it, bro. I felt he was about to drop. I was like, this dude, if he don't catch this, I'm done with Merrick forever. Yeah. There's nothing he can ever do again. So yeah, I think that's about right. I mean, Spillane, Hobbs, and Kuntz. I think those are the guys. I think they'll probably let Diablo walk. Depending on how Bernie and Gainer develop. I think like he's especially if he continues to stay hurt. I don't know about Merrick. Safeties usually don't get a lot of money, so we'll see. I think Spillane is going to do. Hobbs is going to cost a pretty penny. I think. Hobbs is going to cost a little pretty penny. He's one of the best nickel corners in the league. So, yeah,
I think a team is going to value him, especially because he's not afraid to tackle out there. He's good against the run. He's physical. So I could see a team valuing him too as well. Like, especially teams that like to blitz, and he has a different skill set. He has a different skill set.
My
I
guy,
would say
Raider Way said sign Omar Epps.
sign Omar Epps. Nah, for real, man. Hey, man, shout out Marcus Epps, man, for real. Like, that was a tough injury, especially because he was on a contract year too. And I'm sure a team, that was a guy that Rob Ryan was like, he went out of his way to give him credit. So he got a lot of respect on that team, that coaching staff. It just sucks. Maybe there's a possibility he does come back, but it would be a very reduced role. But I'm not sure if they would be. It's going to be tough because he's like a veteran. Yeah. He's coming off an injury. And the way the NFL works, teams are going to be like, we can get someone cheaper as an undrafted free agent, later round pick, develop him, and he could play special teams, then play. Because how many years has Epps played in the league? I think there's like rules where like if you play a certain amount of years, and
your veteran minimum is different.
It's higher. You know what I mean? It's going to be higher than an undrafted free agent. It's going to be higher than some of these other guys. So that's why it's going to be tough for them to even pick him up. So
facts.
It is what it is. But let's give out the last what's real, what's not. And the last what's real, what's not is trading Davante will be good for the Raiders in the long term. Is that real or is that not? Let us know. Trading Davante will be good for the Raiders in the long term. Is that real? Is it not? I'll just say this, man. Of course it's real. What the hell? Like, what the fuck? Get your ass out of here. And we out. What the hell? Of course it's real. Hell yeah, man. That is real. Man, deuces, man. Get out of here.
Man. Facts. Nah, facts, man.
Get out of here, bro. Like, hey, at the end of the day, it just doesn't make sense. The Raiders are going a different direction. They're developing a different identity on offense. They're going to go younger at that quarterback position. They're going to go cheaper on offense because, hey, the offense, if you look at how the money's been divvied up as far as who's getting paid on this team, a lot of that money is on offense. A lot of the offensive players are getting paid. And leading the way is Davante Adams. And offensively, the Raiders aren't getting it done. For whatever reason, they're just not getting it done. So they're going to have to, if it's not working, then you're going to have to get cheaper at that position. And I think, it just makes sense for Davante to go, Raiders and Davante to go their separate ways, get cheaper at that position, hopefully they can get some good draft compensation and, trade up and get their quarterback, But we'll see how that works out. Let's take a look at what people in the chat are talking about if they see. Let's see, man. Man, y'all going crazy.
Hey, man. Speaking of Omar Epps, man, you talking about signing Omar Epps? Hey, I don't know if y'all seen the movie The Program. Omar Epps was a hell of a running back in that movie, man. If you ain't watched that movie yet, you got to check it out.
Raider Smokes has realized that Jerry Jones, Jamie Foxx video. Yeah, that was disgusting. That was definitely disgusting.
Crazy.
What nasty work? Nasty work, man. That was nasty work for real, man. That was crazy to even hear on. But I wasn't surprised. Austin Million dying, man. It's the truth though, man. Hey, it's the truth. It's the truth, man. Raider Ray real get Garrett Wilson and a third round pick from the Jets. Hey,
I would love it. I don't know if the Jets would do it though.
The more I'm thinking about it, like getting Garrett Wilson, it would be huge because we get cheaper at that. We get a highly talented receiver. We get cheaper at that position, and it makes it that much easier to bring a younger quarterback into an offense where he can grow with, Garrett Wilson or, obviously Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer. Hey, man, if we can do that, man, that'd be. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers has a gun to Joe Douglas' head and say, if you don't make this trade, happen. No, I'm just playing, man. Y'all got. Hey, Wes Williams, it may not be real for him because there isn't any guarantees. There isn't any guarantees that he will get with the ring with Jets or Bills, especially with the Rodgers because he's one hit away from retirement. I mean, everybody's kind of like trying to put the Rodgers, but there's other teams that he could fit in with. Like, I'm not sure. He would just have to accept the role that he, like, for example, like if he went to the Commanders, would you say that he would automatically become the number one receiver on that team, or would it be, Terry McLaurin's team, Scary Terry?
I think he'd automatically be the best receiver on the team. Now, I think that just dropping him in there mid-season into an offense that he doesn't know. We see like he struggled he struggled with the Josh McDaniels system early on, right? And that's a much more complicated system, but just like offense takes a lot more time because it has to do with timing and trust and everybody being kind of on the same page in terms of your quarterback and your wide receiver. So if you guys are seeing coverages differently, that could cause incompletions and turnovers. So I think Scary Terry will remain the number one guy, at least for like a few weeks. I think by the end of the season, it'll probably be Davante.
Yeah. We'll see, man. I like Scary Terry, man. There was a chance the Raiders could have drafted him if what year was it when the Raiders had I think they traded away. Was that the year we got Antonio Brown? We traded away our 3rd round pick, and I think Terry McLaurin went in the 3rd round or 2nd round. I don't know if y'all and anybody in the chat remembers.
Terry went in the 3rd round. I remember because Terry. I mean, I was telling everybody about Terry because he went to the Senior. I was telling him about beforehand, but then he went to the Senior Bowl and was destroying everybody. I'm like, yo, this dude was about to be the real deal. And I was like, we can get him like fairly late.
And there was interest. The Raiders were interested, but they end up going with, Antonio Brown. Y'all, the rest is history. Y'all know what happened. But it is what it is. But yeah, man, hey, that pretty much wraps up. What's real, what's not, man. Hey, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in at this point, clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We want to give you guys a friendly reminder, man, an official announcement. Man, if you want to get your 50/50 merch shop, you can see right here a shirt for the ladies. We got coffee mugs here, you know what I mean? You don't have to drink coffee in it, water, whatever you want to sneak in there. You can go ahead and do that. Hoodies, t-shirts, y'all name it, we got it. The store is going to be updated as we go on, but we got some merch. It's a great way to support the show, support the 50/50 show. So get your merch. We are live, man. Hey, the link is pinned in the chat. If y'all watching me on my channel, it's pinned on the chat. I believe Severe will probably have it on. It might be in the chat or it might be on his description.
It's on my description.
Yeah, so definitely check out his description of the video, and you go ahead and click. And get what y'all want, man. And hey, man, we appreciate everybody coming through, man. Hey, make sure to check out the 50/50 merch shop, man. And hey, we had a great show. Severe, let the people know where they can find you and what to look forward to.
What's up, man? You guys know what it is. This is the Severe Raider here on YouTube, IG, X, TikTok, Snapchat, all that good stuff. Here every Tuesday night for the 50/50 show. Friday night for Around the Shield, and I'm rocking with my boy 805, man, with Protect the Shield as well. I got some other stuff coming out. Also, I know where you won't find me, and that's out of Taco Bell, because that's Davante Adams. But yeah, man,
I am going on strike on Taco Bell, man. I haven't had Taco Bell in a long time, but I ain't going on Taco Bell.
I didn't eat it before. Sure. I really ain't eating it now. I'm telling other people not to eat it.
I think Smoke said he had it. He said this is starting smelling like, I don't know what he says. He said something crazy in the chat, man. He's hilarious, man. He got jokes for days. But yeah, man. Hey, we're gonna keep y'all up to date on all the latest going on. Not only with the Raiders in general, but with this Davante thing specifically. So make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all subscribe and y'all hit them notification bells because we're gonna keep y'all up to date, man, with all everything going on with this team. Nah, facts, man. Hey, we do this every week, every Tuesday, the 50/50 show, every evenings. Salute to a special shout out to Mo Moton, great guest, came through today, and we were able to have a great talk with him. So make sure to follow him all over social media, Mo Moton, Bleacher Report writer, and obviously Sports Nod, and he does his thing every Thursday with TNT. So make sure to check him out, man. Appreciate him coming through. We had a great show. We didn't expect to talk about Davante today. We wanted to talk more about the game and how excited we are for the Raiders getting 2-on-2 and they can build off this win. We're still excited about it, but it is what it is. Davante, Hey man, it is what it is, man. I would say once a Raider, always a Raider, but I think it's too soon. It's too soon. It's definitely too soon. But yeah, we do the 50-50 show every week, every Tuesday evenings. Make sure to clock in, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We're going live on both our channels, so you want to subscribe to both. Also, Around the Shield will be a later episode dropped on every Friday. Might be a live show, but you got to stay tuned for that. You got to hit the notification for that, so be notified to let you know when we go live, when we drop a new episode. But it will be this Friday, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And hopefully, we've been talking about that Tyree thing. Maybe possibly we can take a look at Tyree's tape, see what he did well, what he did if he had if the PFF grade matched the play on the field. So hopefully we can get that going on Friday possibly. So stay tuned for that. But we appreciate everybody coming through, man. We had a great show. On the way out, like I said, clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Any last thoughts, Severe, for the people, for the nation?
Man, y'all know what it is, man. Make sure y'all clock in, clock out, and you already know how I feel about Davante, man. I don't gotta say no more, man. Y'all know what time it is, man. This once a Raider, always a Raider. Nah, bro, it don't apply to everybody. It don't apply to everybody,
man. It's too soon, man. All right, y'all. Peace. We out.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.